Chapter 1101, Changhe was here for Duan Lingtian. After everything that had transpired, Changhe finally stopped playing games and stated his intention for coming to the Lu clan. Duan Lingtian was not surprised by the turn of events since he had already guessed Changhe's intention since the beginning. Lu Rui, who was standing aside, looked upset after Changhe stated his intention. Most people did not know about the reason behind Duan Lingtian's grade 1 alchemist status at such a young age, and his ability to refine extremely pure grade 1 medicinal pills. However, Lu Rui was one of the few who knew the secret behind it. Duan Lingtian was a formidable alchemist in his past life. He had cultivated medicine refinement down to an extremely high level, and he had retained all his memory and experience when he reincarnated. That explained his innate talent in medicine refinement and why he was a natural grand alchemist. He was able to condense pill fire of various grades as long his cultivation was sufficient. Changhe thinks that Duan Lingtian has some sort of secret technique that helps him refine medicinal pills with extremely high purity since he's so young. It was not difficult for Lu Rui to figure out Changhe's thoughts and intention. As the clan leader of Lu clan, he was calm and wise. Lu Rui knew for a fact that Changhe was wasting his effort. The ability to refine medicinal pills with an extremely high purity that Duan Lingtian possessed was nearly impossible for anyone else to replicate. His ability was inherited from a lifetime worth of hard work and accomplishment of a powerful being from the past. What if I refuse to share the secret to my ability with you? What would you do? Will you kill me? Duan Lingtian calmly replied. He was completely unmoved by Changhe's threats. First, I will kill all those you care for. Then, I will torture you slowly until I break you before I would even consider killing you. Changhe said coldly. He intentionally shifted his gaze to Feng Tianwu when he spoke. There was a hint of viciousness in his eyes. Duan Lingtian's face changed when the words left Changhe's mouth. Every dragon had a reverse scale. One would certainly die if one touched it. Duan Lingtian's reverse scale was the people he cared about. He would not complain or hesitate if someone stronger wanted to kill him since he would accept that he was weaker. However, he would not sit still if someone wanted to kill or harm the people he cared about. Duan Lingtian stared at Changhe coldly and said with a straight face, Changhe, you're playing with fire. Playing with fire. Those who played with fire would get burned. This was the meaning Duan Lingtian was implying. Playing with fire. Changhe laughed uproariously. I cannot speak for everyone, but I'm rather confident of my ability to play with fire. I can even control and master grade 1 pill fire. There's no reason for me to fear ordinary fire. Changhe looked at Duan Lingtian mockingly as though Duan Lingtian had cracked a joke. Changhe stared at Duan Lingtian coldly as he asked, so, you've made up your mind? Duan Lingtian looked at Changhe with contempt before exclaiming, humph. Useless trash. Changhe stared at Duan Lingtian calmly. He patiently said, I won't be affected by your words. It seemed as though Changhe was completely unruffled by Duan Lingtian's ridicule. I know what you're doing. You think by infuriating me, I'll rush into a battle with you directly. Although I'm not sure how you achieved such power at such a young age, I'm sure I'm no match for you. I'm a fool if I fall into your trap. Duan Lingtian's face changed after Changhe called him out. However, it seemed as though he had noticed something and recovered a moment later. Hoo. 3 gusts of wind blew into the main hall. The silhouettes of 3 elderly figures appeared and surrounded Lu Rui and Duan Lingtian. The silhouettes belonged to 3 old men. One of them was as round as a ball, the other was as thin as a stick, and the final one had an average body size. Duan Lingtian recognized all 3 of them. They were the guardian elders of Lu clan, Lu Yuan, Lu Gui, and Lu Ji. They were the pillars of Lu clan and were all martial monarch powerhouses. Clan leader, Elder Duan, and Miss Tianwu. The 3 of them greeted Lu Rui along with Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu after they appeared before they simultaneously looked at Changhe and Leng Kai guardedly. They rushed over to the main hall as soon as they noticed Lu Rui had crushed the bead inscribed with detection inscription. As the guardian elders of Lu clan, they were very familiar with the current clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. They knew Lu Rui would never crush that bead unless he was in dire straits. That was why they had rushed here without any hesitation or consideration. Soon after, another gust of wind blew into the main hall, and another elderly silhouette appeared. This silhouette belonged to a man with white hair and brows. He looked very similar to an immortal. The old man stood next to Lu Rui calmly. Former clan leader. When the old man appeared, Lu Rui and the 3 guardian elders of Lu clan all greeted him respectfully. The old man was none other than the previous clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Chu. Former clan leader, the previous clan leader of Lu clan. Duan Lingtian was shocked. He did not expect the previous clan leader of Lu clan to still be alive. Moreover, he was currently here in the hall. Lu Chu greeted Lu Rui before he glanced at Chenghe and Leng Kai. How impressive! The Alchemist Guild now dares to challenge the Lu clan's honor. Lu Chu said sarcastically. There was a tinge of anger in his voice. Chenghe forced a smile on his face and greeted Lu Chu. I've long heard that you're the most powerful in the Lu clan, and I must say, I'm impressed after meeting you. Lu Chu completely disregarded him and focused his attention on the azure-clad middle-aged man, Leng Kai. Flash! Without any warning, Lu Chu shot toward Leng Kai like a cannonball being shot out of a cannon. Flash! Leng Kai also flew toward Lu Chu like a bullet at the same time without any hesitation. Both of their silhouettes vanished at the same time. Bang! A loud explosion resonated in the air. Everyone saw Lu Chu and Leng Kai was around 10 feet apart. They each took about 5 steps back before stopping and focused on the other party. A powerful sonic explosion spread out from the point Lu Chu and Leng Kai separated before it quickly turned into a strong gust of wind that ruffled everyone's clothes. The heaven and earth phenomenon that was brewing in the void above disappeared as swiftly as it appeared. The battle between Lu Chu and Leng Kai was over in a blink of an eye. Everyone knew both of them were evenly matched. Lu Chu glanced at Leng Kai and said, no wonder the Alchemist Guild came here to challenge the Lu clan's honor, it's because they have you. You're good as well. Leng Qi's face was still as cold as ever, but there was a hint of fear in the depth of his eyes. In a blink of an eye, everything was resolved. The brief battle between Lu Chu and Leng Kai ended with a tie. At this moment, Chenghe's grin had frozen on his face. He did not expect Lu Chu would be as powerful as Leng Kai even though Chenghe knew Lu Chu was the strongest person in the Lu clan. Damn it, Lu Chu. Chenghe could not resist cursing Lu Chu in his heart. This meant that his 3-month wait was all for nothing. So near yet so far. He blamed his failure on Lu Chu, the former clan leader of Lu clan. His plan would have succeeded if it was not for Lu Chu. Former clan leader is no doubt the strongest person in Lu clan and is well deserving of that title as well, Chenghe said with admiration. There was a smile on Chenghe's face since Lu Chu's arrival even though he was constantly cursing Lu Chu in his heart. Chenghe knew he had lost his chance after Lu Chu's arrival. Hence, he left with Leng Kai without further ado. Thank you, former clan leader. Duan Lingtian smiled and thanked Lu Chu after he saw Chenghe and Leng Kai leaving in a haste. You're welcome, Elder Duan. Lu Chu was flattered when he heard Duan Lingtian thanking him. Duan Lingtian noticed Lu Chu's gaze on him was somewhat unnatural since the beginning. He confirmed his suspicion when he saw how flattered Lu Chu was after he thanked him. Could it be that he has found out about my real identity? Duan Lingtian suspected Lu Chu had already figured out his identity. Duan Lingtian felt more and more confident of his suspicion as minutes passed. Hold on, clan leader swore by 9 heavenly tribulation to keep my identity a secret. How did former clan leader find out about it? This puzzled Duan Lingtian, and he could not help but ask Lu Rui about it through voice transmission. Lu Rui explained the matter to Duan Lingtian including the former clan leader's suspicion about his identity. Oh, now I understand. Duan Lingtian understood everything after the explanation, and the unanswered questions in his mind were resolved. 2 silhouettes left as fast as 2 bolts of lightning above the Lu clan's estate. The 2 silhouettes belonged to Chenghe and Leng Kai. However, the direction they were headed in was not in the direction of the Alchemist Guild. Lu clan, Lu Chu, I won't let this slide so easily. Chenghe murmured as his eyes gleamed coldly. Let's go. We'll head to the O clan first, then we'll head to the Weapons Craftsmen's Guild in the southern outer land. Chenghe closed his eyes and flew ahead after he spoke to Leng Kai. Chapter 1102 Chapter 1103, Strict Close-Door Cultivation for 3 months. Are you feeling better? After the Lu clan's senior officials left, Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu who had just consumed a grade 1 life recovery pill with obvious concern on his face. Feng Tianwu nodded slightly. At this moment, the coldness on her beautiful face had faded a little, and a faint blush was revealed on her face. You, why did you do that? Feng Tianwu stared into Duan Lingtian's eyes. What do you mean by why did I do that? Duan Lingtian was stunned. He did not know what Feng Tianwu meant. That Earlier, that old man wouldn't have retaliated if you didn't attack him, Feng Tianwu said. As one of the parties involved, she knew very well what had happened. Duan Lingtian did that just to save her. Naturally, she could see he had taken a great risk by doing that. He could have been killed for saving her. I won't let anything happen to you. Duan Lingtian's reply was simple and clear. I won't let anything happen to you. That short sentence made Feng Tianwu's heart pound and filled her with happiness. In that instant, Feng Tianwu's gaze on Duan Lingtian softened. Besides, you attacked him to save me. If something happens to you because of that, I won't be able to explain it to Uncle Feng. In fact, I won't be able to forgive myself for it, Duan Lingtian said solemnly. Feng Tianwu nodded slightly. The coldness on her face had almost fully disappeared when she faced Duan Lingtian. However, Feng Tianwu's face turned cold again when a loud voice sounded from outside. Young master, what happened? It was Shang Quan who came late. It was obvious that she had only accepted Duan Lingtian. It did not include anyone else. Nothing, it's just a small matter, Duan Lingtian said as he smiled faintly. A small matter, Shang Quan frowned as he looked at the bloodstains on the main hall's floor. Could it be a small matter when there was so much blood? Young master, are you hurt? Shang Quan asked anxiously as he looked at Duan Lingtian with concern. The blood belongs to the others, Duan Lingtian said. He thought to himself, well, most of it belongs to the others. Most of it belonged to Lu Rui. However, some belonged to him after he was injured by Leng Kai. In order to not worry Shang Quan, he did not elaborate further. Shang Quan heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. I'll go back to my room and continue cultivating. Feng Tianwu left after she said that to Duan Lingtian. She came in a hurry and left in a hurry. Young master, I'll also go back to my room and continue my cultivation. After Shang Quan confirmed that Duan Lingtian was fine, he was also anxious to resume his cultivation. Currently, his only hope was to improve his cultivation base so that he could be more of a help to his young master. Go, Duan Lingtian nodded. Feng Tianwu and Shang Quan left one after another, and Duan Lingtian was the only one left in the main hall. Cheng He, Leng Kai, Duan Lingtian's face instantly darkened as his eyes gleamed coldly. If it was possible, he wanted to kill both of them with his own hands. Cheng He had threatened him with those who were close to him. He had treated Cheng He as a dead man the moment he touched his reverse scale. If he had the chance, he would not let Cheng He live. As for Leng Kai, he would not let him off even though he was just a lackey because he dared to hurt Tianwu. Strength, I'm still too weak. Duan Lingtian hated that he was currently too weak. If his strength had surpassed Leng Kai, none of this would have happened. I'll keep comprehending profundities through profundity fragments, as long as I can comprehend the wind profundity, sword profundity, and earth profundity, my strength will improve to another level. At that time, my origin energy will transform, and my cultivation base will be at the martial monarch stage. Once I enter the martial monarch stage, the potent medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill that's hidden deep in my dantian would be triggered. At that time, my cultivation base would improve by leaps and bounds. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as his eyes brightened. Finally, he seemingly transformed into a gust of wind and returned to his room. After Duan Lingtian returned to his room, he instantly retrieved 3 profundity fragments to simultaneously comprehend 3 different profundities. Once all 3 concepts complete the transformation and turn into profundities, and I enter the first level martial monarch stage, my strength will change dramatically. Duan Lingtian was 100% certain about that. Currently, he was prepared to improve 3 types of concepts. If any of it transformed into a profundity, even if it was just a first-level monarch stage profundity, it would add an extra 1000 ancient horned dragon's strength. That's 1-fold more compared to before the breakthrough. 3 types of profundities would add another 3000 ancient horned dragon's strength. Moreover, as long as he comprehended the first-level monarch stage wind profundity, he would also obtain the first-level monarch stage fire profundity. That would mean he had elevated 4 concepts into profundities. 4 types of 9th-level void transformation stage concepts compared to 4 types of first-level monarch stage profundities. The former was equivalent to 4000 ancient horned dragon's strength whereas the latter was equivalent to 8000 ancient horned dragon's strength. The difference was obvious. If the latter was added with the first-level monarch stage earth profundity that could draw support from the earth energy, and he fueled the fire profundity with the wind profundity, his strength would equal to the strength of 10,000 ancient horned dragons. That was only the strength of the profundities. A first-level martial monarch stage's origin energy when fully exerted was equivalent to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. The quasi-royal grade spirit sword granted a one-fold increase, which meant that he would have an additional 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. With his 9th level advanced thunder concept, Duan Lingtian's full strength was equivalent to 15,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. Naturally, the heaven and earth phenomenon would also have an earth-shattering change. Just like how one ancient horned dragon's silhouette could replace 10,000 ancient mammoths' silhouettes, there would be a new heaven and earth phenomenon to replace the 10,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes. 15,000 ancient horned dragon's strength, I should be on par with that Leng Kai. However, it's still lacking if I want to win him, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Although he could not identify Leng Qi's actual cultivation base with his spiritual energy, he could discern how strong Leng Kai was from his attacks. Both Leng Kai and the former clan leader didn't use any spirit weapons when they fought. According to my estimation, their strength should be more than the strength of 10,000 ancient horned dragons. Their cultivation base should be around the 4th level martial monarch stage. Duan Lingtian speculated. At that time, both Leng Kai and Lu Chu gave their best in the fight. However, they did not reveal their actual strength since the battle was short-lived. The stirring heaven and earth energy did not have time to form the heaven and earth phenomenon. All of this was merely Duan Lingtian's deduction. Nevertheless, Duan Lingtian had the combined memories of the rebirth martial emperor's previous 2 reincarnations. He trusted his own judgment. As the days passed, Duan Lingtian's residence seemed to have regained its peace. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, still visited from time to time to deliver some spirit fruits suitable for void transformation martial artists. Most of these spirit fruits were given to Feng Tianwu. As for the spirit fruits that she had consumed before, they were all given to Shang Quan. Naturally, Shang Quan still could not use them since he had not broken through to the void transformation stage. Currently, he was still working on breaking through to the void interpretation stage. He had comprehended the 9th level advanced sword concept, and it was impossible to elevate to sword profundity without the help of a profundity fragment. Therefore, he focused on improving his cultivation base with spirit fruits. Feng Tianwu and Shang Quan kept improving. Ever since the day Cheng He and Leng Kai left, Duan Lingtian had locked himself in his room. He had only left his room once. At that time, he had asked his servant to pass the spirit fruits that Lu Rui sent to Feng Tianwu. He did not leave his room ever since then. Elder Duan haven't come out from his closed-door cultivation. Many of the Lu clan's elders visited Duan Lingtian eagerly to ask about medicine refinement Dao. However, all of them left disappointed. In the beginning, most of the Lu clan's elders thought Duan Lingtian would be closed-door cultivation for just a few days. However, they did not see Duan Lingtian in the following 3 months. Eventually, they figured Duan Lingtian was in a strict closed-door cultivation. From then onward, those Lu clan's alchemist elders never visited again. They stayed at home and waited for news. They had ordered the servants in Duan Lingtian's residence to inform them immediately the moment Duan Lingtian came out of his closed-door cultivation. Elder Duan haven't come out from his closed-door cultivation. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, who came to visit Duan Lingtian again, smiled bitterly when he learned that Duan Lingtian had not come out yet. He could only leave. I'm afraid we can't continue with the quest, we're almost out of the grade 1 life recovery pills refined by Elder Duan. Lu Rui sighed as he stepped out of the house. He asked me to pass this to you. Lu Rui heard an indifferent voice. Following that, Lu Rui heard the sound of wind whistling from behind as though something was flying toward him. Lu Rui turned around in a hurry and raised his hand to catch the object flying toward him. He realized that it was an ownerless spatial ring. It's her. Through his peripheral vision, he saw a blurry fiery red figure in the depth of the estate. He was no stranger to that figure. It was Feng Tianwu, Elder Duan's soulmate who sacrificed herself for him. She also seemed to be a strong demon monarch powerhouse. Chapter 1103 Chapter 1104, The Comeback. This is, Elder Duan gave this to me. Soon after, Lu Rui's eyes shifted back to the spatial ring in his hands. At once, he realized that Feng Tianwu mentioned was their Lu clan's first interim advisor, Duan Lingtian. After Lu Rui pricked his finger and dripped his blood on the spatial ring to establish ownership, he looked inside. There were 10 pill bottles neatly arranged in a row. After opening up a pill bottle, he saw the pills inside were all glowing faintly. All this was familiar to him. These were grade 1 life recovery pills. As it turns out, Elder Duan was already prepared. Lu Rui shook his head and smiled before he turned to leave. Above the sky of the northern mountain land, 5 figures passed by as fast as lightning. It was 5 travel-weary individuals who came from afar. 3 of them led the group as an azure-clad middle-aged man and a blue-clad old man followed closely from behind. The 2 old men in the lead were talking. "Chenghe, you don't have to wait long before you become a grade 1 alchemist who can refine pills with more than 90% purity," a gold-clad old man said to the silver-clad old man. "I don't know how that boy managed to refine grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity, but I hope things will go as you said," Chenghe said with a faint smile. There was a hint of greed in the depth of his eyes. "Guildmaster Cheng, I'll help you this time, I hope you'll keep your promise." A middle-aged man walked shoulder to shoulder with the 2 old men. He looked ordinary, but he had really bright eyes. His hands were holding on to a sheathed long blade. He seemed to emit a piercing aura similar to a sharp blade when he stood there. Currently, he was also looking at Chenghe. "Clan leader of O Clan, you may rest assured that I won't break my promise," Chenghe said solemnly. "All right then." The middle-aged man with a piercing aura nodded faintly and kept quiet. "Chenghe, previously, you said the target this time is the Lu clan's grade 1 alchemist who looks no older than 30 years old," the gold-clad old man suddenly asked. "Yes," Chenghe nodded seriously. "He's not only a grade 1 alchemist. Even his cultivation base is shocking. If I have to guess, I would say his strength is around the 2nd level martial monarch stage." Grade 1 alchemist, 2nd level martial monarch stage. A young man not older than 30 years old. Apart from the azure-clad middle-aged man who had already known about the matter, the 3 individuals' faces changed at once. Even the middle-aged man with a piercing aura was not an exception. He was shocked. It sounded too unbelievable. A human martial artist who became a grade 1 alchemist before the age of 30 would have been known as a monster prodigy favored by the gods. Moreover, that person was also a 2nd level martial monarch stage martial artist. "Chenghe, are you trying to trick us?" The gold-clad old man's face darkened slightly as he looked at Chenghe solemnly. The middle-aged man with a piercing aura also looked at Chenghe with a sharp gaze that felt like 2 blades hanging over Chenghe. "Trick?" Chenghe glanced at the gold-clad old man like he was looking at an idiot. He was rendered speechless for a moment before he said, "Why would I trick you? Do I look like I have so much free time on my hands? Why would I risk offending both of you at once?" Both the gold-clad old man and the middle-aged man with a piercing aura withdrew their gazes when they heard Chenghe's words. "I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's the truth. You can see for yourselves when we arrive at the Lu clan's estate tomorrow," Chenghe said to the gold-clad old man. "A grade 1 alchemist under the age of 30, there's never been a demon alchemist in the history of Cloud Continent. That's why he can only be human. The fact that he's also at the 2nd level martial monarch stage is incredible." The gold-clad old man mumbled to himself with narrowed eyes after he heard Chenghe's words. "No, he's not necessarily human," the middle-aged man with a piercing aura suddenly said as though he had recalled something. "He's not necessarily human." After the middle-aged man had spoken, apart from the 2 old men beside him, even the azure-clad old man and the blue-clad old man looked at him. Their eyes were filled with curiosity, and they were left wondering about the middle-aged man's words. The middle-aged man was the Northern Mountains O Clan's clan leader, Olai. He was also the strongest person in the O Clan. The O Clan was as famous as the Lu clan in the Northern Mountain land. They were a famous family of weapons craftsmen. However, Olai was not a weapon craftsman. He became the clan leader of O Clan due to his unbeatable strength in the entire O Clan. As such, Olai had the highest status in the O Clan. The power he had in the O Clan was a lot more than the power Lu Rui had in the Lu clan. That was because even though Lu Rui was the clan leader of Lu clan, the former clan leader, Lu Chu, was the true leader. Naturally, Lu Chu usually remained hidden, and he never interfered with Lu Rui's management of the Lu clan. Lu Chu's status at the Lu clan was not only because he was the former clan leader, but he was also the strongest person in the Lu clan. On the other hand, the former clan leader of O Clan was just an ordinary grade 2 weapons craftsman. Therefore, the status of the O Clan's former clan leader was far beneath the current clan leader, Olai. "Olai, although you're not a weapons craftsman, you're from a family of weapons craftsmen, don't you know non-humans can't be an alchemist or weapons craftsman?" Chenghe asked with a frown. Yes, if he isn't human but a demon, it's impossible for him to be an alchemist or a weapons craftsman. Let alone a grade 1 alchemist, the gold-clad old man added. Both the blue-clad old man and the azure-clad middle-aged man standing behind the gold-clad old man and Chenghe nodded in agreement. No matter what, a demon could not become an alchemist or weapons craftsman. That was the law on Cloud Continent. For countless years, no one had heard any demons that had broken the law. I just said he's not necessarily human. When did I say he's a demon? Olai asked as he glanced coldly at the gold-clad old man. That, you mean, the gold-clad old man was stunned after hearing Olai's words. Under the curious eyes of the four men, Olai slowly opened his mouth and said the word, variant. Variant. When Olai said that, it was as though lightning had struck the four other men. All of them, including Chenghe, was stunned. Variant. They were naturally no stranger to it. A variant was the product of a human and a demon. They were either trash or monsters. The latter had mysterious and unique innate abilities. Moreover, they also possessed shocking innate talent in martial Dao that exceeded ordinary humans or demons. Most importantly, variants could become grade 1 alchemists or grade 1 weapon craftsmen because they were half human, unlike pure demons who could not condense pill fire or weapon flame. Chenghe was first to react, and he muttered, after listening to Olai, I really think it's possible. It's very likely he's a variant. After that, he turned to look at the azure-clad man who followed him since the beginning. Leng Kai, what do you think? Probably, Leng Kai said and nodded. A variant. The shock was apparent on the gold-clad old man and the blue-clad old man's faces. Eventually, the gold-clad old man nodded. Barring unforeseen factors, then he should be a variant. After all, his achievement isn't something ordinary humans can achieve at that age. Everyone else nodded in agreement. I don't care whether he's a variant or not, I'll get the method of refining pills with more than 90% purity from him. Chenghe enunciated each word clearly as greed shone in his eyes. Leng Kai alone is a match for that old fellow, Lu Chu. As long as Leng Kai distracts Lu Chu, it'll be easy for the rest of us to defeat the monarch stage martial artists in Lu Clan. The gold-clad old man said, it won't be difficult to capture Duan Lingtian. However, Chenghe, you must be prepared. He probably won't tell you the method of refining pills with more than 90% purity even if you capture him. You don't have to worry about that, Chenghe said confidently. How? You've got a plan. The gold-clad old man's eyes brightened. Tell us. There's a strong woman who seems to be a demon monarch powerhouse around Duan Lingtian. Her strength is probably at the second-level demon monarch stage that's equivalent to a second-level martial monarch stage martial artist, Chenghe said slowly. You've already said that earlier, I'm asking you, how are you planning to make Duan Lingtian tell you the method? The gold-clad old man asked again as he knitted his brows together. Since I mentioned the woman, naturally it's because it's related to her, Chenghe said snappily to the gold-clad old man before he continued saying casually, if Duan Lingtian isn't cooperative, I'll torture the woman in front of him, until he cooperates. A sinister smile appeared on Chenghe's face when he finished his sentence. You're really despicable. The gold-clad old man looked at Chenghe. However, why are you so certain he will spill his secrets for that woman? That's not an ordinary secret, you know. You don't know this, but that boy is really affectionate, Chenghe said with a smile. Previously, he almost died for that woman. Chapter 1104. Oh, the gold-clad old man's interest was piqued the moment he heard Chenghe's words. What do you mean? Whether it was Olai, the clan leader of O Clan, or that blue-clad old man standing behind the golden-clad old man, both of them were looking at Chenghe curiously. It was apparent they were interested in this matter as well. Previously, Leng Kai had almost killed that woman. At the very last minute, he suddenly attacked me. Due to that, Leng Kai was distracted. Chenghe added, at that time, Leng Kai managed to injure him as well even though he managed to rescue that woman. If I didn't ask Leng Kai to spare his life, he would have already died in Leng Qi's hands. Chenghe finished his words in one breath. This variant is different than most types of rumored variants. It's said that most variants are cold-blooded. It's very rare for them to show their true emotions, let alone sacrificing their own lives to rescue other people, the gold-clad old man lamented. I don't care if he's different from other variants. This time, I'll pry the secret I want from his mouth. Confidence was written on Chenghe's face as his eyes gleamed coldly. A day passed very quickly. During the second day, a building complex in the far distance appeared before Chenghe and the other four. We've arrived at the Lu clan, the gold-clad old man announced. As the guild master of the Weapons Craftsman Guild's main guild in the southern outer land, this was not his first time going to the Lu clan. The difference was, in the past, he had always been treated as an honored guest in the Lu clan whenever he went there and had always been warmly welcomed. This was the first time he went there to kidnap a person from the Lu clan. Originally, he was unwilling to offend the Lu clan, but the thing Chang'e promised him was just too tempting. Due to that, he decided to help Chang'e even though this meant he might ruin his friendship with the Lu clan. That way, when they arrived above the Lu clan's estate, Chang'e immediately looked toward the eastern side of the Lu clan's estate. His body moved with a flash as he flew out and arrived at the sky above that area in just a blink of an eye. Following behind Chang'e was Olai and the gold-clad old man. Further behind them were Leng Kai and the blue-clad old man. The blue-clad old man was just like Leng Kai. If Leng Kai was described as Chang'e's shadow, then this blue-clad old man would be the gold-clad old man's shadow. As the only well-known grade 1 alchemist in the southern outer land, and the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land, the gold-clad old man highly regarded by the Inner Lands Alchemist Guild. For this reason, the Inner Lands Alchemist Guild sent the blue-clad old man to protect him. Soon after, Chang'e and the other four arrived at the sky above a spacious residence. Duan Lingtian, show your ass now, Chang'e roared loudly without any warning. The origin energy in his voice swept out, spreading to the entire Lu clan's estate. For a moment, the entire Lu clan's estate erupted in an uproar. Somebody's here to look for Elder Duan. Asking Elder Duan to show his ass the instant he arrives. Looks like these visitors didn't come with good intention. Many of the Lu clan's disciples discussed among themselves. They were no strangers to Duan Lingtian's name. After all, he was the only grade 1 alchemist in their Lu clan. Although those people obviously came with bad intentions to target Duan Lingtian, none of them were really worried. In their opinion, their Lu clan was one of the strongest clans in the northern mountain land, so they would be able to protect Elder Duan well. However, contrary to the Lu clan's disciples, Optimism, the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui's face was extremely grave. Damn it, it's that Chang'e again. Previously, Chang'e had left in disappointment. After 3 months, he finally made his appearance again. He definitely came with bad intention. It looks like Chang'e has found himself support. Lu Rui and the 3 great guardian elders of Lu clan gathered and rose up into the air. They could not see the faces of the 5 figures standing in the distance. However, they knew one of them had to be Chang'e. They had a feeling Leng Kai, who always followed and guarded Chang'e, was there as well. Let's go have a look, let's see who Chang'e brought with him that he had the confidence to come back again. Lu Yuan, who was as fat as a ball, took the lead to fly out first. His eyes gleamed coldly. Lu Rui, Lu Gui, and Lu Ji followed closely behind him. In just a few moments, the 4 of them had also arrived at the sky above the eastern side of the Lu clan's estate. There were already 2 people locked in a deadlock with Chang'e and the other 4 at the sky above the eastern side of the Lu clan's estate. The atmosphere was extremely heavy, as though it would explode at any given time. Lu Rui was not unfamiliar with these 2 people. They could see the 2 were none other than the woman always beside Duan Lingtian, the first interim advisor of their Lu clan, and the middle-aged man who always followed Elder Duan everywhere. Looks like Duan Lingtian has become a coward. How dare he asks a woman like you to come out instead? However, other than Duan Lingtian, you're my target as well this time. Chang'e said casually. His eyes gleamed when he looked at the red-clad woman standing nearby. You dare to insult him? Almost at the instant Chang'e's words left his mouth, flames skyrocketed from the beautiful woman's body before it solidified into a sword-shaped flame. Her voice was icy, and she looked at Chang'e as though he was a dead man. After she said that, and before Chang'e had time to respond, she made her move. Whoosh! A 5-foot-long sword slashed out as her body followed suit. The tip of the sword-shaped flame was fixed on Chang'e and approaching at an extremely fast speed. It was as though she had transformed into a bolt of fiery lightning. It was so fast that Chang'e paled instantly. It has only been 3 months, how's it possible that her strength has gone up so much? There was only one thought in Chang'e's mind. Meanwhile, the sword-shaped flame had already arrived near Chang'e. The speed was so fast that Chang'e could barely dodge the attack. Humph! A snort sounded in the air. Chang'e's heart was thumping rapidly in his chest, and he was incredibly tensed. In the next moment, a flash of green figure materialized in front of Cheng He. The moment Cheng He saw the green figure, he breathed a sigh of relief. He instantly relaxed, and his heartbeat gradually returned to normal. He knew he was no longer in danger since that person in front had made his move. Bam! Just as this thought appeared Cheng He's mind, the green figure charged toward Feng Tianwu and clashed with the fiery red sword that Feng Tianwu had transformed into with her sword as a loud explosion reverberated in the air. As the two waves of energy clashed together, the airstream in the air exploded and set off a series of vibrating airwaves. The airwaves spread out in all directions and continued to transform into a flurry of hurricanes. Whoosh, 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 the hurricanes were so huge that it seemed as though the eastern side of the Liu clan's estate was attacked by some sort of demonic wind. Some of the servants with low cultivation base were miserably blown away. As for the crowd in the air, only their robes fluttered loudly in the wind. None of them were injured at all. Their gazes were trained on the two people who were clashing. The two of them finally separated after the loud explosion. The energy swimming around the green figure had dissipated and revealed his true identity. It was a green-clad middle-aged man. Because of his fast attack, the heaven and earth energy that was whirring above his head did not even have time to gather into heaven and earth phenomenon before it dissipated. Unlike the green-clad middle-aged man who remained unmoved in his spot, the fiery red gigantic sword transformed from both human and sword was sent flying back before finally coming to a stop a few dozen meters away. Barf! The sword-shaped flame died down. The red-clad woman holding a 5-foot-long flexible red sword spat out a mouthful of blood. Her delicate face was extremely pale. The heaven and earth phenomenon gathered by the heaven and earth energy above the red-clad woman's head began to disperse. It was the silhouettes of 2,000 ancient horned dragons and a silhouette that was a dozen times bigger than the ancient horned dragons that were spiraling as it descended. It was also a dragon, but not an ancient horned dragon. Its body was tough and long, like an ancient horned dragon that was magnified a dozen times. Naturally, the details were totally different as well. Whether it was the sharp claws or the scales on its body, this dragon exuded a majestic aura. The ancient horned dragons were not comparable to it. If the ancient horned dragons were considered as young dragons, this dragon would be like a matured dragon. Not only were the details on its body completely different from ancient horned dragons, but even the head was different from the ancient horned dragon. The ancient horned dragon's head looked slightly ferocious, a little different than the legendary divine dragon with pure bloodline. However, this dragon that was a dozen times bigger than an ancient horned dragon was not too different from the legendary divine dragon. Moreover, its pair of sharp eyes were constantly emitting a majestic aura. The silhouette of the ancient black dragon, Lu Rui, the clan leader of Liu clan, was shocked when he saw this. Lu Yuan was staring at the scene before his eyes in bewilderment. His small eyes were as big as saucers as he muttered to himself, "Clan leader, didn't you say Miss Tianwu can only cast over 8,000 ancient horned dragons' strength at the most? How's this possible? Miss Tianwu's attack could mobilize the heaven and earth energy to gather into silhouettes of one ancient black dragon and 2,000 ancient horned dragons." Lu Ji said solemnly. The strength of an ancient black dragon is formed from 10,000 ancient horned dragons. If it's calculated using ancient horned dragons, Miss Tianwu's current strength is equivalent to the strength of 12,000 ancient horned dragons. Lu Gui gasped. This was a far cry from the strength of over 8,000 ancient horned dragons that their clan leader told them about. I didn't know too. Lu Rui was staring in shock at the red-clad woman who was heavily injured in the distance. His face was completely blank. He could not understand what he was seeing at all. Don't tell me Miss Tianwu has been holding back her strength all this while. Although he did not really believe this, he really could not come up with another plausible explanation. Chapter 1105, Miss Tianwu. Lu Rui and the other three old men's expression immediately turned grave when they saw Feng Tianwu injured. No matter what, she was Elder Duan's woman after all. How would they explain to Elder Duan now that she got injured in front of them? Meanwhile, Shang Quan, who was originally standing next to Feng Tianwu, also turned grave when he saw her getting injured. He glared at the green-clad middle-aged man as he snarled coldly, "You're looking for death." At this moment, due to his wrath, the origin energy on his body soared up and transformed into a milky white sword-shaped flame that seemed to envelop his entire being as it emitted a tyrannical aura. Whoosh! The heaven and earth energy whirred above the air and gathered to form the heaven and earth phenomenon. 1,120 silhouettes of ancient horned dragons. 9th level advanced sword concept was equivalent to the strength of 1,000 ancient horned dragons. When the origin energy of a 9th-level void interpretation stage martial artist was fully unleashed, it was equivalent to the strength of 120 ancient horned dragons. This was all the strength Shang Quan could unleash now. You're looking for death. Originally, when Cheng He and the others saw how Shang Quan snarled coldly at the green-clad middle-aged man, their expression darkened slightly in an instant. The red-clad woman and this middle-aged man were unfamiliar to them. In their opinion, the fact that this middle-aged man dared to yell at the person who heavily injured the red-clad woman meant that he must be quite powerful as well. They did not think it was possible for him to be any weaker than the red-clad woman. However, the moment they saw the heaven and earth phenomenon that appeared above the middle-aged man, they could not help but stare at each other in puzzlement with an odd expression on their faces. The person they originally thought was a powerhouse turned out to be a person who could barely scratch the threshold to the peak of the void. What an ant! The green-clad middle-aged man who had just injured Feng Tianwu was none other than Leng Kai. His body disappeared completely in front of Shang Quan as soon as he spat those words out. Bang! Chills were creeping up on Shang Quan's skin. He realized he might be facing his doom when a loud bang reverberated not far in front of him. The rolling airwaves spread out and created a flurry of hurricanes once again. Shang Quan felt as though he was caught in the hurricane. Before he even had time to react, he was already sent flying by the powerful airwave. He clenched his teeth and finally came to a halt 100 meters away. The first thing he saw was an aged and hoary silhouette materializing in front of him to block Leng Kai. Leng Kai was just a dozen meters away from the place he was at earlier. At this moment, chills shot up from the soles of Shang Quan's feet to his brain. It caused him to shiver uncontrollably. Cold sweat had already broke out on his forehead. He knew he would have died if it was not for that old man blocking Leng Kai in time. With my current strength, when will I be of help to young master? Bitterness filled Shang Quan's heart. In front of these people who came to look for trouble with his young master, he could not do anything at all. Former clan leader. When Leng Kai tried to attack Shang Quan earlier, horror dawned on the clan leader of Lu Clan, Lu Rui, and the 3 guardian elders of Lu Clan. They immediately flew out to save him. However, their speed was no match for Leng Kai. Moreover, Leng Kai was positioned closer to Shang Quan. They could only watch helplessly. He's Elder Duan's people. If he dies, how should we explain it to Elder Duan? They all had this thought in their minds just as the situation abruptly changed. The strongest person in the Lu clan, Lu Chu, who was also the Lu clan's former clan leader, made his entrance and shielded Shang Quan from Leng Kai. After Lu Chu blocked Leng Kai could not do anything to him all. He swiftly flew back and retreated behind Cheng He. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Meanwhile, the Lu clan's clan leader and the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders also came to stand beside Lu Chu. Former clan leader. The 4 of them bowed at Lu Chu respectfully. Lu Chu nodded at the 4 of them before looking at Cheng He and the others. His gaze swept past Cheng He and the others one by one. Clan leader O, Guild Master Mo, I wonder what's the purpose of all of you coming even though it's so far. Lu Chu's gaze finally landed on the middle-aged man and the gold-clad old man by Cheng He's side. His tone was calm when he spoke. The moment they heard Lu Chu's words, horror dawned on Lu Rui and the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders. Clan leader O, Guild Master Mo. In the northern mountain land and the entire southern outer land, there were only 2 people their former clan leader would greet in such a way. Olai, the clan leader of the northern mountains, O clan, and Mo Jia, the guild master of the weapons craftsman guild's main guild in the southern outer land. Their eyes followed Lu Chu's gaze before it landed on 2 extremely familiar figures. Olai, Mo Jia. Horror once again dawned on Lu Rui and the other 3 when they saw the middle-aged man with a piercing aura and the old man dressed in a forbidden robe. Lu Chu, I'll be blunt with you. If you hand over Duan Lingtian to Cheng He now, I'll still be a friend to the Lu clan, Mo Jia announced in a speed that was neither too slow nor too fast. His eyes gleamed when he looked at Lu Chu. Friend. The moment this word left Mo Jia's mouth, the 5 people from Lu clan were momentarily stunned. After a few seconds, Lu Chu was the first person to regain his senses. He looked at Mo Jia and snorted. The Lu clan is a little unworthy to be friends with someone like you who has a high social position. Lu Rui and the other 3 also regained their senses. Each of them also had an enraged expression on their faces. This Mo Jia had already stepped on the Lu clan's head, and he still had the audacity to say that he would remain a friend to the Lu clan. In that case, from today onward, the Lu clan and I no longer have any relationship. Mo Jia's voice turned cold the instant he heard Lu Chu's words. The robe of the blue-clad old man behind him fluttered even though there was no wind. His pair of cold gleaming eyes were glaring at Lu Chu as though he was about to attack Lu Chu at any given time. Clan leader Oh, the reason you're here is also to help Cheng He take Elder Duan away from the Lu clan. Lu Keys asked as he looked at Olai with gleaming eyes. Olai nodded faintly after he glanced at Lu Chu. Lu Rui's face darkened. He instant rebuked Olai, "How dare you? How dare you?" Upon hearing Lu Rui's words, not only was Olai bewildered, even Cheng He, Mo Jia, and the two people behind them felt bewildered. Clan leader Lu, former clan leader Lu. Soon after, Olai returned to his senses. He looked at Lu Rui and Lu Chu nonchalantly. Your Lu clan and Ro clan are two great clans with 10,000 years of history in the northern mountain land. In this 10,000 years, we're on friendly terms even though some enmity still exists. The reason I came to the Lu clan today is to help Elder Cheng He take away that person. Both the O clan and I have no intention of offending you at all, Olai explained calmly. No intention to offend my ass. Lu Rui snorted. Olai, the moment you decided to help Cheng He take away Elder Duan, you've already made a decision to stand against our Lu clan. From now onward, the O clan and the Lu clan will be sworn enemies. The O clan and the Lu clan would be sworn enemies. Lu Rui's voice spread out and echoed in the air. Many people in the Lu clan's estate heard Lu Rui's words. That's clan leader Lu's voice. Clan leader Lu just said from today onward, the Lu clan and the O clan are sworn enemies. Don't tell me those arrogant people who asked Elder Duan to show his ass are from the O clan. Maybe, the people in the Lu clan's estate immediately buried their heads together in a discussion. Many of the Lu clan's elders and disciples rose up in the air, but they only dared to watch from afar. They did not dare to go close at all. Who knew if a fight would break out? If a fight broke out, it would be a battle among martial monarchs. The airwaves from the clashing energies would be enough to send them flying and even injure them. Lu Rui, I don't think the decision of making the O clan a sworn enemy of the Lu clan can be decided by you, right? Olai asked casually the moment he heard Lu Rui's words. At the same time, his glance shifted to Lu Chu who was standing far away. As far as I know, you're not qualified enough to make such a decision for the Lu clan in front of the former clan leader. When Olai spoke, his face remained indifferent. It was neither happy nor enraged. However, mockery could be heard in his words. He was mocking Lu Rui, this clan leader, implying he was unworthy of his title. Haha, clan leader Lu, do you really think everyone can control the entire clan like you? Cheng He burst out laughing before he glanced at Lu Rui mockingly. Although some people are clan leaders as well, they don't have any authority at all. Someone like that is just a puppet in my opinion. Guild Master Chang, you always speak so bluntly. No matter what, some people are still the leader of a clan, a person with a high and mighty position. Don't you think it's not right to mock him in front of so many people? Mo Jia joined in the laughter as well. The ridiculing smile on his face was at odds with his words. He seemed to be rubbing salt deeper into the wound. Lu Rui's face turned green before it paled. His eyes gleamed coldly. Who says Lu Rui's not qualified to make decisions for the Lu clan? Lu Chu made his stance clear as he snorted. From the moment I passed down the title, clan leader, to Lu Rui, he's already the clan leader. He's the person with the highest position in our Lu clan. His words represent the entire Lu clan's will. Lu Chu announced with certainty, reinforcing Lu Rui's status as the clan leader of Lu clan. Colors immediately returned to Lu Rui's face. A hint of gratitude to Lu Chu could be seen in his eyes for coming to his rescue. Moreover, since then, other than protecting the Lu clan and the Lu clan's interest, I, Lu Chu, have not interfered with the matters in the Lu clan. Lu Chu made his stance clear so that others could no longer make fun of Lu Rui. Even if you ask us to meddle in the Lu clan's internal affair, we wouldn't want to, alright. The reason we came here is not to become an enemy of the Lu clan. We just want to bring Duan Lingtian away. Cheng He took a stride forward and stared into Lu Rui's eyes. Since clan leader Lu has the full authority to speak on behalf of the Lu clan, please give us an answer. The instant Cheng He's words left his mouth, Olai and Mo Jia strode forward as well. They stood together, pressuring Lu Rui. Chapter 1106. Cheng He was the guild leader of the Alchemists Guild's main guild in the southern outer land and a grade 1 alchemist. Naturally, he would not be such a huge threat to the Lu clan if he was only a grade 1 alchemist. However, the person who posed the greatest threat was none other than Leng Kai, the green-clad middle-aged man who followed him around. Lang Qi's strength was not inferior to the strongest person in the Lu clan, Lu Chu. 3 months ago, Cheng He had brought Lang Kai to the Lu clan. At that time, their target was Duan Lingtian. However, they failed to get what they wanted and could only leave miserably due to Lu Chu's interference and the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders. After 3 months, they came back with 2 helpers in tow. One of the helpers was the guild leader of the Weapons Craftsmen Guild's main guild in the southern outer land, Mo Jia. Mo Jia was a grade 1 weapons craftsman. Since he had focused on the weapons refinement Dao, his growth was limited in the martial Dao. Similar to Cheng He was an ordinary first-level monarch stage martial artist. Cheng He had asked for his help not because of his strength but because of the person who always followed him around to guard him. It was none other than the blue-clad old man always following Mo Jia. In terms of strength, the blue-clad old man was in no way inferior to Lang Kai and Lu Chu. His strength was quite terrifying as well. The other helper was Olai, the current clan leader of the northern mountain Lanzhou clan. Olai was a martial Dao genius who only appeared every 1,000 years in the O clan. When he was in his 40s, his cultivation base successfully broke through to the martial monarch stage, and thus, he became a martial monarch powerhouse. His current strength was on par with Lang Kai and Lu Chu as well. The 3 powerhouses with strength that was on par with Lu Chu was Cheng He's biggest support. He believed the Lu clan would not dare to directly confront them if they were smart. Apart from that, it would also be easy for him to forcefully bring Duan Lingtian away. Clan leader Lu, you must make your decision wisely. Don't let the Lu clan suffer from unnecessary damage just because of a momentary burst of courage, Cheng He said victoriously as he stared at Lu Rui. Humph. Lu Rui snorted before he mocked, what now? Don't tell me you plan to annihilate our Lu clan, Guildmaster Cheng. I know I don't have the ability to wipe out the Lu clan. However, if the Lu clan lost a few of its martial monarchs, I believe the few forces in the inner land won't avenge the Lu clan, Cheng He replied nonchalantly. As he reached the end of his sentence, a malicious smile crept up on the corner of his mouth. You. Lu Rui's face darkened instantly. He was so angry that he felt as though his blood was boiling. However, he knew what Cheng He said was the truth. Whether it was Cheng He, Mo Jia or Olai, none of them possessed the courage to annihilate the Lu clan. This was because the Lu clan was protected by a few first-rate forces in the inner land. Naturally, those first-rate forces would only make their move if the entire Lu clan was annihilated. They would remain unmoved even if all the martial monarchs in Lu clan died. Lu Rui took a deep breath and looked at Lang Kai with dread in his eyes before he shifted his gaze to Olai and the blue-clad old man behind Mo Jia. These 3 martial monarchs had strength that was in no way inferior to Lu Chu, the strongest person in their Lu clan. If the Lu clan battled it out with them, they would definitely suffer a great loss. The 3 guardian elders might not even survive. Lu Rui was caught in a dilemma. On one hand, he had the few main backbones that held the Lu clan up. It was currently faced with the risk of falling apart. On the other hand, he had the future pillar of the Lu clan who was also the person Cheng He wanted to take away. If he wanted to save these few backbones, he would have to give up the future pillar of Lu clan. The Lu clan would lose a rare opportunity. This opportunity was enough to let the Lu clan soar to the top and stand at the peak on Cloud Continent. After all, the background of that pillar was incredibly terrifying. He was a person who had stood at the peak on Cloud Continent in his previous life. Currently, he was in the form of his final reincarnation, so he would definitely achieve much more than he did in his past lives. Naturally, this was only true provided he did not meet with any mishaps along the way. If he died now, it would be pointless to discuss the future. If we hand Elder Duan over, our Lu clan won't suffer any loss. However, Elder Duan would be taken away by them. If we don't hand Elder Duan over, our Lu clan will suffer a great loss. In the end, Elder Duan will still be taken away by them. Both scenarios have the same outcome, but at the core of it, it's different. In the former scenario, it's us who give up on Elder Duan. Even he doesn't hate us, our relationship will definitely sour. As for the latter scenario, we'll give our all to protect Elder Duan. Even if we can't protect him and he's taken away, he'll still feel grateful. Lu Rui was deep in thoughts at this moment. He was feeling deeply conflicted. In the end, he could not help but turn to look at Lu Chu, wanting to get his opinion. Clan leader, from now onward, every matter regarding the Lu clan is up to you to decide. No matter what your decision is, I'll always support you, Lu Chu said before Lu Rui even had the chance to open his mouth. Clan leader, all of us will support your decision. Lu Yuan, Lu Gui, and Lu Ji nodded their heads as well. They had the same mindset as Lu Chu. For a moment, Lu Rui could feel the weight of a mountain on his shoulders, and he could hardly breathe. If I choose the former and give up on Elder Duan, if Elder Duan manages to escape this calamity and rise to the peak again, he won't bother with us anymore even if he doesn't settle the score with us. One choice was enough to cut off the friendship between the Lu clan and Elder Duan. If I choose the latter, the three guardian elders will most likely meet their ends. Even the former clan leader will be in danger too. Elder Duan will still be taken away. However, if Elder Duan manages to survive, our Lu clan's future will definitely be bright. Another choice would cause the Lu clan to suffer great damage, and nobody was able to predict the future regarding Elder Duan. However, if Elder Duan somehow survived, the Lu clan would definitely be able to ride on his success. Lu Rui was in a dilemma. He could not make up his mind at all. Clan leader Lu, I hope that you'll be able to give us an answer after the span of 10 breaths. After the span of 10 breaths, we'll start playing rough if you still don't give us an answer. Chenghe smirked as he looked at Lu Rui. At that time, please don't blame the three of us for not taking our friendship into consideration. There's no need to wait for 10 breaths. At this moment, Lu Rui clenched his teeth and made his decision. It's impossible for the Lu clan to hand Elder Duan over to you. From the moment Elder Duan became the first interim advisor of Lu clan, he's already a part of our Lu clan. Our Lu clan has a 10,000 years legacy. It's impossible for us to betray friends for the sake of our own personal gain. Today, we'll give our all to protect Elder Duan even if it means we'll have to face death. Lu Rui's words were incredibly loud and crisp as it spread in the air. The moment the Lu clan's three great guardian elders heard this, their eyes lit up as they faced Chenghe and the other four in a poised and brave manner. Although they knew the strength of the three people on the other side was far stronger than theirs and could kill them in mere seconds, they did not feel even the slightest bit of fear. This was all for the sake of Lu clan. For the sake of Lu clan, they had no regrets even if they died in the battle. They were the embodiment of the word, guardian, in their title guardian elders. They did not bring shame to their title at all. Fight. Lu Rui's words also entered Lu Chu's ears. He was initially nervous, but he had a smile on his face now. The nervousness in the depth of his eyes disappeared without a trace. Whoosh. At the same time, Lu Chu appeared in front of the three great guardian elders of the Lu clan and coldly glared at Chenghe and the others. Whoosh, 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 comma. Soon after, many figures flew in from all directions. They were the Lu clan's elders who were watching from afar. Their sense of hearing was greater than ordinary Lu clan's disciples. They had heard the exchange between Lu Rui and Chenghe. They were all affected by Lu Rui's words as well, and their blood was boiling with righteous indignation. Let us fight to the death. Protect Elder Duan with our lives. You'll have to cross over my dead body if you want to kill Elder Duan. Comma. A group of Lu clan's elders surrounded Chenghe and the other four. They were yelling at the top of their lungs in an imposing and majestic manner. What? That 5 men came for Elder Duan? Soon after, the Lu clan's disciples who were watching afar was also in an uproar. Originally, my second uncle forbade me from saying this. However, I think I should say it no matter what. One of the Lu clan's disciples said through clenched teeth. Earlier, my second uncle told me those people want to bring Elder Duan away, but the clan leader rejected them. Now, the clan leader has declared a war with them. However, their strength is strong. The outcome seems grim for the clan leader, former clan leader, and the 3 guardian elders. The Lu clan's disciple said all this in one breath. Why didn't you say so earlier? They want to take Elder Duan away. FCKU, man. Now that there's a grade 1 alchemist in our Lu clan, don't even dream of taking Elder Duan away from us. It seems like this entire matter is instigated by Guild Master Chenghe of the Alchemist Guild's main guild. I think he feels Elder Duan, the second grade 1 alchemist to appear in the southern outer land after him, is a threat to his status, so he wants to eliminate Duan Lingtian. Those who are men and have balls, follow me now. Let FCK that son of a bitch Chenghe till he dies. Let's go, comma. Soon after, each and every one of the Lu clan's disciple flew out in a mighty formation. With 3 layers inside and another 3 layers outside, they surrounded Chenghe and the other 4 tightly in a dense and dark mass. They appeared like a dark cloud that hung over the city. Good, good. Lu Rui became emotional when he saw this scene. This was his first time seeing their Lu clan so united. Lu Chu and the 3 Lu clan's guardian elders smiled as well. Even if they died today, it would not be in vain. This was the Lu clan that they spent their entire lives protecting. Although they might die, they would go to their graves with no regrets at all. As expected from an ancient clan with a 10,000 years legacy. Such unity is not easily found in ordinary forces. The disciples of ordinary forces would have fled if they saw such a calamity approaching them. Shang Quan was struck dumb when he saw the scene unfolding before his eyes. When Feng Tianwu saw this scene, even the frost on her beautiful and delicate face slightly thawed. She was moved by this group of Lu clan's disciples. At the same time, Cheng He and the other 4's faces turned pale immediately when they saw the Lu clan's elders and disciples had them surrounded 3 layers inside and another 3 layers outside. It would only be a small matter if they killed a few people from the Lu clan. It was not enough to provoke the first-rate forces from the inner land that protected the Lu clan. However, if they killed all these people, they would have to face their own dooms as well. Chapter 1107. In their eyes, the Lu clan's people were like ants. It was not difficult to kill them at all. However, these people represented the entire Lu clan. Killing all of them was equivalent to annihilating the Lu clan. At that time, the inner land's first-rate forces that had once sworn they would protect the Lu clan would descend upon them with vengeance. Even if the first-rate forces could not annihilate the forces they belonged to, they themselves would not be able to escape death. After all, they were the instigators of this event. Don't touch the Lu clan's people. Don't touch Lu Rui as well. Kill that 4 old men, and nobody in the Lu clan will be able to stop us anymore. At that time, it'll be easy for us to take Duan Lingtian away. Cheng He told the other 4. Initially, his face had a grave expression. However, by the time he reached the end of his sentence, his eyes were gleaming coldly as though he was about to devour someone. Upon hearing Cheng He's words, all 4 of them nodded their heads in agreement. The price they would have to pay if they had to annihilate the Lu clan was too high. It was acceptable for them to kill a few martial monarchs in the Lu clan as long as they did not touch the foundation of the Lu clan. Leng Kai, you deal with Lu Chu, Cheng He ordered Leng Kai. All right, Leng Kai nodded nonchalantly. His cold eyes were staring fixedly at Lu Chu. Olai, you'll handle the other 3 old men from the Lu clan. Is that okay? Cheng He looked at Olai. He wanted him to deal with the Lu clan's 3 guardian elders. They'll definitely die in the span of 3 breaths. Olai's reply was curt. However, it was filled with confidence and certainty. As for Mo Jia and I, we'll be responsible for blocking Lu Rui and the rest of the Lu clan. Elder Chen, Duan Lingtian's woman's strength is quite powerful. Subdue her, but don't kill her. She's still of use to us. Cheng He looked at the blue-clad old man who followed Mo Jia like a shadow. The blue-clad old man nodded. Olai, after you kill the 3 old men from the Lu clan, you'll join forces with Leng Kai to kill Lu Chu. After Lu Chu dies, you'll search for Duan Lingtian and subdue him. Cheng He looked at Olai again. Olai nodded his head to show he understood. The atmosphere was incredibly tensed and heavy. Cheng He and the other 4 were about to make their move. Suddenly, Tian Wu, you're hurt. A voice filled with urgency and anger suddenly resonated in the air and broke the silence. At once, everybody's attention was caught by a figure that materialized in the air abruptly. It was a purple-clad young man. The young man was handsome, and his features were sharp. His eyes, with dashing brows that were slightly slanted, were gleaming with iciness and killing intent. He made his move when the crowd's attention was on him. Dragon soaring the 9 heavens. It was as though his entire body had transformed into a purple divine dragon. He charged out like lightning and arrived beside the red-clad woman with a slightly pale face who was standing in the distance. Tian Wu, swallow this. The purple-clad young man put a brightly gleaming pill into her mouth. The red-clad woman trusted him completely. She swallowed the pill without any hesitation. That pill, how's this possible? Cheng He, who was standing in the distance, suddenly trembled violently. His gaze was originally fixed on the pill the purple-clad young man took out. He only regained his senses when the pill was swallowed by the red-clad woman. However, shock was still written all over his face. Cheng He's shock stunned the other 4 as well. They all looked at him in confusion. The grade 1 life recovery pill he just took out has more than 95% purity. Cheng He explained when he saw the confusion on the other 4's faces. The red-clad woman in the distance who had just swallowed the pill immediately regained colors on her cheeks and her body was brimming with vigor and vitality, proving Cheng He's words right. She had completely recovered. Where were the signs of her being injured? Many people who heard Cheng He's words were dumbfounded when they looked at the scene before their eyes. This grade 1 life recovery pill has more than 95% purity. Lu Rui was the first to regain his senses. He gulped. Earlier, Miss Tian Wu has already consumed a grade 1 life recovery pill with 91% purity. Although her injuries have healed a little, it's not completely healed. Lu Yuan was staring at the scene unfolding before his eyes in bafflement. He went completely still from the shock. A grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 95% purity actually has such strong medicinal efficacy. The closer the pill's purity is to 100%, the more terrifying the pill's medicinal efficacy would be. Lu Ji said solemnly, "It didn't cross my mind that Elder Duan is able to refine grade 1 life recovery pills with more than 95% purity, it's so close to achieving 100% purity. The strength of the medicinal efficacy must be at least double the strength of grade 1 life recovery pills with 91% purity." The group of Lu clan's elders was still in shock over Cheng He's words when Cheng He's gaze was burning a hole through the purple-clad young man standing in the distance. He asked loudly, "Duan Lingtian, looks like I've underestimated you. I can't believe you can actually refine grade 1 pills with more than 95% purity. The grade 1 life recovery pill you just gave her had 97% purity, right?" This time, his voice was even louder, and all the Lu clan's people on the scene heard it clearly. "What? A grade 1 life recovery pill with 97% purity? Are there even pills with such high purity on Cloud Continent? It's impossible, isn't it?" Each and every one of the Lu clan's disciple began to discuss. Their skeptical gazes quickly landed on the purple-clad young man in the distance. Suddenly, one of the Lu clan's disciples who was staring at the purple-clad young man cried out, "That's Elder Duan." "What? He's that Elder Duan?" All the Lu clan's disciples were in an uproar. "He's the first interim elder of our Lu clan. That grade 1 alchemist who can refine grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity. He's young, just like the rumor said. Looks like the old man wasn't lying. Elder Duan can refine grade 1 life recovery pills with 97% purity. I think so too. After all, Elder Duan defies all common logic." Soon after, all the Lu clan's disciples were staring at the purple-clad young man in the distance, Duan Lingtian. To the younger generation in the Lu clan, Duan Lingtian was their ultimate idol, and he was greatly respected and admired. "Second brother, no wonder I found him and the red-clad sister familiar, as it turns out, it really is them." A girl with a childlike face muttered when she was hit by a pang of realization. Another young man stood next to her. "I didn't think you'll still be able to recognize him." The young man smiled faintly. The young man was none other than Lu Bai, the second young master of the Lu clan. As for the girl beside him, there was no doubt about her identity. She was none other than Lu Ping. She was the girl Feng Wudao previously saved along with her brother. Her brother was Lu Bai. "Duan Lingtian, you really gave me a huge gift." Lu Bai's eyes were filled with gratitude when he looked at the purple-clad young man in the distance. Lu Bai had found out about Lu Song's death not too long ago. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, he was sure to inherit the position of clan leader in the Lu clan. All of this was made possible because of the purple-clad young man. If it was not for the purple-clad young man, it would still be uncertain if he would get that position. Duan Lingtian was slightly shocked that Cheng He was able to see through the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill with just one glance. Similar to a senior lecturing a junior, he coldly looked at Cheng He as he remarked, "What a good eyesight, however, what a pity. You have no desire to keep forging ahead. Instead, you're focused on dishonest practices. You're destined not to make any more progress in this lifetime. You're just a lucky young boy who obtained some secret technique from God knows where, and you actually dare to criticize me. When I became an alchemist, let alone you, even your mother might still be in her mother's womb. Who do you think you are to rebuke me?" Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Cheng He's were ablaze as though it could really shoot out fire. "That's right, when you first became an alchemist, my mother might still be in her mother's womb," Duan Lingtian smirked. He paused for a moment before continuing, "If I was you, I would have killed myself a long time ago. You're already so old, but it seems like you spent most of your time living like a dog. How's it possible that you're not even as good as a young boy like me?" Duan Lingtian's words were full of mockery, implying that Cheng He was inferior to a young boy. The moment Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, many Lu clan's disciples burst into a laughing fit. Disdain could be seen in their eyes when they looked at Cheng He. So much for being the guild leader of the Alchemists Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. Exactly. Our Lu clan's elder Duan is barely 1/3 of his age, and yet, his achievement in the medicine refinement Dao has long surpassed his. He's basically a trash in front of elder Duan. Trash. What a perfect word to describe him. The Lu clan's disciples whispered among each other. Their words were blunt as they mocked Cheng He to their heart's content. Although their voices were not particularly loud, it was still clearly heard by Cheng He. It caused his face to turn green before it paled. The rage in his eyes continued to intensify. Duan Lingtian, don't be so full of yourself. You're just lucky you managed to obtain the secret technique. Otherwise, will you really be able to refine pills with more than 90% purity? Cheng He hissed with disdain after he took a deep breath to calm himself down. Until now, he still believed Duan Lingtian was lucky and came across some secret technique that allowed him to refine pills with more than 90% purity. If he obtained the secret technique, he would be able to refine pills with 90% purity as well. Secret technique. The moment the crowd heard of Cheng He mentioning the words, secret technique, they immediately shifted their gazes toward Duan Lingtian in unison. Chapter 1108. Could it be that Elder Duan actually knows some secret technique? Many of the Lu clan's people pondered inwardly. After all, it was shocking enough that Elder Duan became a grade 1 alchemist at such a young age. On top of that, he could also refine pills with 97% purity. A pill with such purity was heaven-defying. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Duan Lingtian ignored Cheng He. His gaze landed on the red-clad woman beside him, and he asked in an extremely gentle voice, "Tian Wu, who injured you?" A hint of wrath could be heard in his otherwise gentle voice. Feng Tian Wu's heart skipped a beat when she heard the anger in his voice. The frost on her face dissipated a little. Her gaze instantly shifted to that green-clad middle-aged man standing in the distance. The green-clad middle-aged man stood behind Cheng He like a shadow. "It's you again." Following the direction of Feng Tian Wu's gaze, Duan Lingtian looked at the green-clad middle-aged man with cold eyes. Leng Kai. Previously, Leng Kai had also injured Tian Wu and him. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Leng Kai lazily lifted his head and glanced at Duan Lingtian nonchalantly. A hint of scorn could be seen in his eyes. It was as though they were saying, "So what if it's me again? You can't avenge your woman anyway." Boom. At this moment, milky white flames skyrocketed from Duan Lingtian's body as he emitted waves of terrifying aura. The heaven and earth energy whirred above his head and finally gathered into the heaven and earth phenomenon. There was a total of 2,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes. Just his origin energy alone was equivalent to the strength of 2,000 ancient horned dragons. That was the trademark of a first-level martial monarch. Elder Duan is a martial monarch. For a moment, many of the Lu clan's elders and disciples present on the scene were shocked. Duan Lingtian has made a breakthrough to the martial monarch stage. Lu Bai was shocked as well. Although he had once witnessed Duan Lingtian killing a Lu clan's elder who was at the 8th level void transformation stage with his own eyes, he did not expect Duan Lingtian to be a martial monarch. He thought Duan Lingtian was a powerhouse at the peak of the void at the most. The scene unfolding before his eyes made him realize that Duan Lingtian was either already a martial monarch at that time, or he had just recently made a breakthrough to the martial monarch stage. Compared to the rest of the Lu clan's elders and disciples, Lu Rui, the clan leader of the Lu clan, was not surprised at all. Last time, he had personally witnessed how Elder Duan had almost killed Cheng He, who was at the first-level martial monarch stage. At that time, he had already guessed that Elder Duan was a martial monarch. As for Lu Chu, the former clan leader of Lu clan, and the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders, they were still slightly stunned even though they had already heard about this matter from Lu Rui. After all, Duan Lingtian was just too young. Naturally, it was still acceptable that he was young. Being young was not the main point. Elder Duan was a grade 1 alchemist who could refine grade 1 pills with 97% purity. With his current age, his achievement in the medicine refinement Dao was enough to make 90% of the alchemists on Cloud Continent to lower their heads in shame. However, such a young man who was so talented in the medicine refinement Dao was also a martial monarch. Monster. Is Elder Duan even human? After a moment of silence, the group of Lu clan's elders and disciples was in an uproar. All of them stared in shock at the purple figure in the distance. I didn't expect I'll be able to encounter a variant in this lifetime. Mo Jia, the guild leader of the Weapons Craftsmen Guild's main guild in the southern outer land, took a step forward and scrutinized Duan Lingtian. It's said that each variant has their own special innate ability. I wonder what innate ability do you possess? Variant. Innate ability. Although Mo Jia's voice was not loud, everyone present heard his words. His words were like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. Variant. Innate ability. Many Lu clan's disciples were confused. Does this mean that Elder Duan is a variant? Some of the Lu clan's elders could not help but narrow their eyes. They knew a little about variants. What's a variant? Most of the people who asked this question were the Lu clan's disciples. A variant is born from the copulation of a human and a demon. A variant is either very ordinary or monstrous. There are many of the formers on Cloud Continent, but the latter is extremely rare, one of the Lu clan's elders explained solemnly. That's right, another Lu clan's elder chimed in before he continued to say, it's said that the latter has innate talent and comprehension that far surpass human being. Even humans who have the best innate talent and comprehension on Cloud Continent are not comparable to them. Moreover, the monstrous variants also have a special innate ability. The variant's innate ability is one of a kind in this world. Another person added. Some of the Lu clan's elders and many of the disciples broke into a clamor when they found out what variants were. Their faces were filled with confusion. Then, does it mean that Elder Duan is a variant? Well, this is the only plausible explanation. Since Elder Duan is a grade 1 alchemist, it means he's not a demon. However, it's almost impossible for a human to achieve so much in both martial Dao and medicine refinement Dao at his age. You have a point, comma. As the group of Lu clan's elders and disciples buried their heads in discussion, they very quickly came to a conclusion. Duan Lingtian, this first interim advisor of their Lu clan, was a variant. Moreover, he was the type of variant that was extremely monstrous. At this moment, they finally understood why Elder Duan could achieve so much at such a young age. The only people who did not think Duan Lingtian was a variant were Lu Rui and Lu Chu, the clan leader and the former clan leader of the Lu clan. This was because both of them knew about Duan Lingtian's background. Duan Lingtian was someone who had obtained earth-shattering achievement in medicine refinement Dao, weapons refinement Dao, and inscription Dao in his past lives. In this reincarnation, he only needed to raise his cultivation base and spiritual energy to a certain level, and he would become an outstanding alchemist, weapons craftsman, and an inscription master. In their opinion, calling him a variant was quite ridiculous. Milky white flames soared up from Duan Lingtian's body as his icy gaze landed on Chenghe and Leng Kai. He enunciated his words slowly. I told you previously that you're playing with fire. Since all of you are here today, you might as well just stay here forever. His voice was bone-piercingly cold. Ha 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 ha. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Chenghe burst out laughing. After a moment, his laughter finally died off. He sneered as he looked at Duan Lingtian with disdain. You're going to make us stay here? Just with your cultivation base at the first level martial monarch stage? Previously, you were injured by Leng Kai with just one blow. It seems like you want to experience that again. I really wonder where you get your courage from. Meanwhile, Mo Jia also laughed as he chimed in, it's good to have confidence, young man. However, it's not good to let it turn into arrogance. There was a hint of rebuke in Mo Jia's words. Although Elder Duan is a martial monarch, he's only at the first level martial monarch stage. It won't be easy for him to deal with these people. The fact that Elder Duan possesses such strength at such a young age is already terrifying enough. However, his strength is not even comparable to the 3 guardian elders of our Lu clan, let alone these people. If Elder Duan is given another 10 years, these people definitely won't be a match for him. Of course, Elder Duan is the rumored variant after all. A person who can be considered as heaven-defying on Cloud Continent. Many of the Lu clan's elders and disciples buried their heads together in discussion. They did not think Duan Lingtian would be able to defeat Chenghe and the others. Elder Duan, when the milky white flames transformed from the origin energy on Duan Lingtian's body skyrocketed even more, Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian and shouted, take Miss Tianwu with you and leave. The Lu clan will block them for you. Lu Rui's words were full of determination. His manner was imposing as though he knew this would be their last battle. When the last of his words left his mouth, he flew out and charged at Chenghe and the other 4. I have no regrets if the rest of my life is sacrificed for Duan Lingtian's sake. Elder Duan, you must survive. Lu Chu, the former clan leader of Lu clan, smiled brightly. When his voice echoed in the air, he was already by Lu Rui's side. He was glaring viciously at Cheng He and the other four. If Cheng He and the other four dared to make a move, they would instantly unleash their thunder-like attack. Elder Duan, you must live well. If we die, please avenge us. The Lu clan's three great guardian elders shouted in unison before they flew out as well, surrounding Cheng He and the other four together with Lu Rui and Lu Chu. Elder Duan, please survive and live well. At this moment, a group of Lu clan's elders and disciples had also flown out and surrounded Cheng He and the other four in a tighter formation with 3 layers inside and another 3 layers outside. Each of them had a determined look on their faces. They truly embodied the word, unity, at this moment, and they fully displayed the character of the Lu clan. Boom, 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 comma. Without warning, origin energies soared up from the group of Lu clan's senior officials with Lu Rui in the lead. Their profundities followed close behind like shadows. Soon after, the Lu clan's people unleashed their soaring origin energies and concepts as they glared viciously at Cheng He and the other four, ready to make a move at any time. Lu clan, the crowd before Duan Lingtian's eyes blocked Cheng He and the other four from his sight. His heart thumped. At this moment, he was also affected by the valiant and moving atmosphere the Lu clan had created. Lu clan, I, Duan Lingtian, will always remember this kindness of yours. However, today, let me solve my own matter on my own. At the same time, Cheng He, who was surrounded by the Lu clan, suddenly yelled at the other four, follow the original plan. Chapter 1109 Chapter 1110, The Duan Lingtian after 3 months. Boom, 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 comma. After Cheng He shouted, origin energies soared up from the 5 of them. Profundities and concepts followed like shadows, ready to explode. Leng Qi's gaze immediately locked on Lu Chu. Olai's gaze was locked on the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders. As for Cheng He and the remaining 2, each of them locked on their targets as well. Swish, snap. When Cheng He and the other 4 were about to make their move, the sound of sword whistling suddenly echoed in the air. It disappeared as soon as it appeared. Along with the sound of sword whistling, there was a sound of something being sliced. When the other 4 returned to their senses, horror dawned on their faces instantly. Dear Lord, what did they just witness? Leng Kai, who was originally hovering in the air with them, was forcefully stabbed in the center of his body. He died instantly after being sliced into 2. From the cold and aloof expression that still remained on Leng Qi's face and his gaze that was still fixed on Lu Chu, one could see that Leng Kai had no time to react at all from the beginning until the moment his body was sliced in 2. Leng Kai was a martial artist at the 4th level martial monarch stage. If he used his spirit weapon and unleashed his full strength, his strength was almost equivalent to the strength of 2 ancient black dragons. Someone like that had just died in such a simple and swift way. He's dead. I didn't even have time to blink my eyes, and he's already dead. Comma. Many of the Lu clan's disciples were struck dumb with horror. Who's that? That's incredibly powerful. A lot of them were puzzled. Soon after, Cheng He and the other 3 by his side, as well as the Lu clan's people led by Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, shifted their eyes to the center of the encirclement created by the Lu clan. A lone purple figure stood in the center. Impossible. The moment Cheng He saw the purple figure, his eyes narrowed. There was a bewildered expression on his face as he repeatedly shook his head. It was as though he refused to believe the sight before his eyes. The 3 people standing next to Cheng He turned pale as well. Shit, why didn't Cheng He tell us that this young man actually has such terrifying strength? There was only one thought in their minds at this moment. They felt as though they had been deceived by Cheng He. Elder Duan. Everyone from the Lu clan was stunned as they looked at the purple figure before them. It did not occur to them that Elder Duan, who displayed his origin energy that indicated he was at the 1st level martial monarch stage, was so powerful. Lu Chu, the former clan leader of the Lu clan, in particular, was shocked. Apart from that, his eyes even contained hints of dread and disbelief when he looked at the purple figure before him. Former clan leader, did you manage to see Elder Duan's movement earlier? At this moment, 4 voice transmissions rang in Lu Chu's ears. It was Lu Rui and the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders. Lu Chu shook his head. Earlier, his gaze was firmly fixed on Leng Kai. His gaze did not shift until the moment Leng Kai was killed. However, although he had personally witnessed the scene of Leng Qi's body being sliced in 2, he did not see the attacker at all. Heck, he did not even see the shadow of the attacker. All he heard was the sound of sword whistling and the sound of Leng Qi's body being forcefully sliced in 2. This, when they saw Lu Chu shook his head in denial, Lu Rui and the others narrowed their eyes instantly. When they shifted their eyes toward that purple figure again, their eyes were filled with disbelief. Lu Rui in particular, he's still their battle with Leng Kai 3 months ago. Leng Kai had injured the purple-clad young man with just one blow. However, he managed to easily kill Leng Kai today. Moreover, Leng Kai did not even have time to react at all. The speed he used to kill Leng Kai was so fast that even Lu Chu, one of the strongest people present on the scene, could not see anything clearly. Why, young master? In the distance, Shang Quan stared at the purple figure hovering in the air with a bewildered expression on his face. Since when did his young master become so powerful? Feng Tianwu, whose injuries were healed, also had her eyes trained on the purple figure. A hint of emotion as gentle as water could be seen in her autumn eyes as she muttered, "His strength has made a huge progress." She knew very well he was avenging her now. The person he killed was the one that injured her. Isn't Elder Duan a little too strong? Isn't he only a first-level martial monarch stage martial artist? Many Lu clan's elders who had returned to their senses were struck dumb with bewilderment. Their gazes were also on the purple figure. Elder Duan is so strong. That guy didn't even manage blink, and he's already killed by Elder Duan. All of the Lu clan's disciples were looking at the purple figure with a burning gaze. Each and every one of them had a look of admiration in their eyes. Everyone dreamed of being the best of the best and to stand at the top of the world. However, not many people could achieve that. At this moment, they could see the shadow of their dreams in the purple figure. Due to this reason, he strongly resonated with them. The purple figure hovering in the air empty-handed was none other than Duan Lingtian. The milky white flames transformed from the origin energy had died down some time ago, even though nobody knew when. The heaven and earth phenomenon above his head had also dissipated now, leaving a sense of mystery to the crowd. Why you killed Leng Kai? When Changyi looked at Duan Lingtian now, the ridicule in his eyes had disappeared. Only fear remained in his eyes. Duan Lingtian turned around and glanced at Changyi nonchalantly as he asked, "What? Have your eyes gone bad because you're old, Guild Master Chang?" "Why you?" Changyi's face immediately flushed and his body trembled when he saw Duan Lingtian's piercing gaze. His trembling body caused his voice to quiver as well. Due to his quivering voice, he could not even complete his sentence after a long time. Everyone could see how scared Changyi was at this moment. His fear did not only come from the bottom of his heart, but it also came from the depth of his soul. What? Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes and asked with interest. However, how could Changyi possibly answer him? His forehead and face were drenched in sweat now. No matter how he thought about it, he could not figure it out at all. 3 months ago, this purple-clad young man was like an ant in Leng Qi's hand. How did he become so terrifying in 3 months' time? How did he kill Leng Kai in such a way that Leng Kai could not react in time at all? At this moment, his heart was flooded with despair. When Duan Lingtian saw Changyi's lack of response, his eyes gleamed. He said in a speed that neither slow nor fast, "If there's a next life, please remember that you're not qualified to play with my fire even if you're a grade 1 alchemist." When he reached the end of his sentence, his body emitted a blood-curdling killing intent. When Changyi saw the killing intent from Duan Lingtian, horror dawned on his face as he shrieked, "No!" However, his shriek was abruptly cut off as soon as it left his mouth. Nobody knew when, but a slit had appeared on his throat. Fresh blood gushed out freely as the slit split open. As for Changyi, his gaze had already dimmed long before the slit appeared. The next instant, Changyi's body dropped down to the ground, and he died in a horrifically. From this day onward, the guild master of the Alchemists Guild's main guild in the southern outer land was dead. When Changyi died, silence descended on the scene. It was only when Duan Lingtian raised his head and shifted his gaze that the Lu clan's people also shifted their gazes in the direction where his eyes were locked on, Changyi's 3 helpers. Olai, the clan leader of the Northern Mountains O clan. Mo Jia, the guild master of the Alchemists Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. There was also the old man with the surname Chen. He was the powerhouse who always followed and protected Mo Jia. His strength was in no way inferior to Olai, Leng Kai, and Lu Chu. However, Mo Jia did not feel safe at all after he saw how Duan Lingtian had killed Leng Kai with just a blow. Mo Jia took a deep breath as he looked at Duan Lingtian. He was flustered as he tried to explain, Elder Duan, I was persuaded by Changyi to come here. I've no intention to be your enemy or to be the Lu clan's enemy. Currently, he no longer carried the haughty air he previously had. He was now as docile as a lamb in front of Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was a little unaccustomed to the sudden change in his behavior. Humph. However, Duan Lingtian did not give a damn about him at all. His gaze turned cold in an instant. Everybody could see that Duan Lingtian was still standing in the same spot. Nobody saw him move. However, the guild master Mo Jia of the Alchemists Guild's main guild in the southern outer land had died on the spot. Mo Jia's head and his body separated and dropped to the ground in unison. Die. The moment Mo Jia died, the old man with the surname Chen turned pale, and his gaze turned cold. A saber appeared in his hands and slashed toward Duan Lingtian in an overbearing manner. At the same time, the heaven and earth energy whirred above his head. Finally, the heaven and earth phenomenon formed the silhouettes of one ancient black dragon and 8,000 ancient horned dragons. Whoosh! The spirit saber in the old man's hands slashed down toward Duan Lingtian in an overbearing manner. Duan Lingtian would split in two if he was hit by this. However, the lightning-fast saber in the old man's hands that contained the strength of an ancient black dragon and 8,000 ancient horned dragons still missed its target in the end. This was because when the saber in his hands slashed down, his target suddenly vanished without a trace in the air. The purple figure had also completely disappeared from the eyes of the two strongest bystanders, Lu Chu and Olai. Even they could not catch his movement. Whoosh! The purple-colored figure materialized again like a breeze as he appeared behind the old man with the surname Chen. When Duan Lingtian appeared behind the old man with the surname Chen, he asked indifferently, "That's all you have?" A hint of scorn could be heard in his voice. Shit! When the old man with the surname Chen heard the voice from behind, horror dawned on him. He tried to flee from the owner of the voice. However, his brain had already exploded out of his brain before he could even move. Chapter 11:11. After the old man with the surname Chen was cut in two, everyone's gaze shifted to Duan Lingtian in unison. All of the Lu clan's elders and disciples were shocked. They did not expect their Lu clan's first interim advisor to not only have a shocking achievement in medicine refinement Dao, but his achievement in the martial Dao was equally as shocking. In just a blink of an eye, he had killed the 4 out of the 5 enemies Lu clan faced. Those 4 were people that even the strongest powerhouses from the Lu clan feared. Elder Duan, Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, was completely stunned. The others might not know the identity of the person Duan Lingtian had just killed, but he knew very clearly who they were. Put aside Chenghe and Mo Jia, both Leng Kai and that old man with the surname Chen had strength that was not inferior to their former clan leader. Both were powerhouses at the 4th level martial monarch stage. However, these two 4th level martial monarch stage powerhouses were killed by Elder Duan in just a blink of an eye. Young master. Shang Quan's eyes were burning as he stared at Duan Lingtian hovering in the distance. That was his young master. How powerful. Feng Tianwu's beautiful and delicate face changed a little. It was obvious that Duan Lingtian's strength had taken her by surprise. Wish. Even Lu Chu, the former clan leader of the Lu clan, could not help but gasp. He was completely shocked by the strength Duan Lingtian displayed. With Elder Duan's strength, it seems as easy as slaughtering a chicken or cutting grass for him to kill those two whose strength was on par with mine. If he really wants to, I think he can kill me with just a snap of his fingers. Lu Chu's feelings were in turmoil, and his gaze was complicated. The entire place fell silent, everyone's eyes were drawn to Duan Lingtian's hands. Although they could not catch Duan Lingtian's movement earlier, they were lucky enough to see the weapon in Duan Lingtian's hands. Duan Lingtian stood there haughtily as his purple robe fluttered even though there was no wind. He was holding a 3-foot-long blade that was condensed from only God knew what kind of energy. What the hell is that energy? The 3-foot-long blade slowly dissipated and vanished without a trace after everyone's attention shifted to Duan Lingtian's hands. The heaven and earth energy in the air that was on the verge of turning into the heaven and earth phenomenon also dissipated. Due to this reason, nobody knew how strong Duan Lingtian was. However, the fact that Duan Lingtian could kill Leng Kai and the old man with the surname Chen whose strength was in no way inferior to Leng Kai meant that his strength could already be considered as one of the top on Cloud Continent. However, most people's attention was not on this. They were more interested in the 3-foot-long blade that Duan Lingtian drew out of thin air earlier. The sword Kai that gleamed on the 3-foot-long blade was the sword Profundity. However, they had never seen someone condense the energy into a 3-foot-long blade before. Did you see that? Yeah, I did. The sword in Elder Duan's hand was condensed from a 5-colored energy. I thought my eyes were deceiving me. I didn't think it was real. What energy is that? It must be a profundity, but, is there even such a profundity? I've never heard of such profundity before. All of the Lu clan's disciples and elders had a puzzled expression on their faces. None of them could figure out what energy Duan Lingtian used to condense the sword. They were not the only ones who could not figure it out. What was that energy earlier? Lu Rui's eyes narrowed. He was puzzled since this was his first time seeing an energy with 5 different colors. The 5 different colors were red, blue, green, purple, and khaki. Apart from Lu Rui, even the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders were bewildered as well. It was already shocking enough when Elder Duan killed their enemies in just a blink of an eye. Now, they could not even discern the energy that condensed the blade in Duan Lingtian's hands. The 5 colors in the energy seems like 5 type of nature profundities that have merged together. The red one is fire profundity, the blue one is water profundity, the green one is wind profundity, the purple one is thunder profundity, and the khaki one is the earth profundity. Compared to the others, Lu Chu was more knowledgeable. However, he still felt skeptical even though he knew what it was. It was difficult for him to believe that Duan Lingtian could simultaneously master 5 types of nature profundities. There also seems to be sword profundity on the sword that's condensed from the 5-colored energy. If that 5-colored energy really represents the 5 types of nature profundities, doesn't that mean he has mastered 6 types of profundities? The more Lu Rui thought about this, the more he was filled with disbelief. Although he knew Elder Duan was the 3rd reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor from 10,000 years ago, he still could not believe Elder Duan could comprehend 6 different profundities at the 1st level martial monarch stage. Profundity was different than medicine refining method and experience. The latter could be inherited through the past memory but the former could not. A person would need to rely on his own power to comprehend and communicate with a profundity. In other words, he would need to comprehend all the profundities again from the beginning even though he was the 3rd reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor. Due to this reason, Lu Chu did not believe he would be able to comprehend so many profundities at the 1st level martial monarch stage. This was not because he looked down on the rebirth martial emperor's reincarnation, but he just found it too illogical. Since Elder Duan is the 3rd reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor, he must be raising his cultivation base and comprehending the profundities at the same time. By right, it's impossible for him to comprehend so many profundities at just the 1st level martial monarch stage. If Duan Lingtian's cultivation base was at the 7th, 8th or even the 9th level martial monarch stage, he would not have found it strange that Duan Lingtian could comprehend 6 types of profundities. However, Duan Lingtian was only at the 1st level martial monarch stage. The 1st level martial monarch stage meant that he had only made a breakthrough to the martial monarch stage recently. He had just broken through to the martial monarch stage recently, and he had already comprehended 6 different profundities. Was this even possible? At the very least, he felt that it was impossible. Moreover, even if the 5-color energy is really 5 types of nature profundities, how exactly did they merge so perfectly? Lu Chu found this part the most confounding. Leaving all the others' profundities aside, just the fire and water were 2 incompatible elements. It was basically an impossible task to merge the water profundity and fire profundity together. Perhaps I've seen wrongly. In the end, this was the only explanation Lu Chu could come up with. Even if I really saw wrongly, I still have no idea what that energy is. How did the energy allow Duan Lingtian to kill 2 4th-level martial monarch stage powerhouses even though his cultivation base is at the 1st-level martial monarch stage? Even until now, he still had goosebumps whenever he recalled the earlier scene. The 2 4th-level martial monarch stage powerhouses who were in no way inferior to him died just like that. From the beginning until the end, they did not even have any time to react. Due to this reason, he had an idea of how terrifying Duan Lingtian's strength was. There was another person whose thinking was more or less similar to Lu Chu. It was none other than the only remaining person in Chenghi's group of 5 people, Olai. Olai was the strongest person in the Northern Mountains O clan. He was at the 4th-level martial monarch stage. His strength was on par with Leng Kai, the old man with the surname Chen, and Lu Chu. Unlike Lu Chu, he immediately dismissed the idea that the energy Duan Lingtian used to condense the sword was from 5 types of nature profundities the moment he thought of it. Additionally, he had zero knowledge of Duan Lingtian's background. However, he was certain nobody could comprehend so many profundities at the first-level martial monarch stage even if he was a variant. Unless, that's his innate ability. Olai could only come to such a conclusion. He had no idea when it happened, but his hand that was holding his sheathed spirit saber began to sweat profusely when the purple-clad young man narrowed his eyes at him. The cloth at his back was also soaked with sweat. If Duan Lingtian attacked him, he was certain he would die. After all, both Leng Kai and the old man with the surname Chen possessed strength that was not inferior to his. I, Olai, have always lived freely throughout my whole life. I didn't expect my life would come to an end here today. However, I have no regrets being able to die in your hands, sir, Olai remarked after he took a deep breath and looked at Duan Lingtian in the eyes. Based on his words, he seemed to have accepted the fact that he would die. His back was straight as though a saber was placed there. He stood there resolutely. Oh, Duan Lingtian was about to make his move and kill the remaining person in Cheng He's group. However, he did not expect him to be so firm and unbending in the face of death. Duan Lingtian had to admit that at this moment, he held a sense of admiration toward the lofty and unyielding character of this person. However, this did not mean that he would show mercy. Everyone had to be responsible for their actions. Whoosh! Duan Lingtian lifted his hand slowly, Sword Kai appeared and the five-colored energy continued to rise up inside the Sword Kai forming the rudimentary shape of a blade. The heaven and earth energy swirled above his head as the heaven and earth phenomenon began to form. Swish, 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 comma. For a moment, everyone, including Duan Lingtian, looked at the void above Duan Lingtian. It was obvious they were curious about the heaven and earth phenomenon that would materialize there. The strength Duan Lingtian displayed previously was enough to send chills running up their spines. Everyone held their breaths as the heaven and earth energy was on the verge of forming. Whoosh! Without warning, the heaven and earth phenomenon on the verge of forming dissipated as the heaven and earth energy proceeded to disappear in the sky. Everyone immediately shifted their attention back to Duan Lingtian. Why did Elder Duan withdraw his energy? Everyone, including Olai, was perplexed. Where did you get your ring from? Under the watchful eyes of the others, Duan Lingtian's eyes landed on the old and simple ring that Olai wore on his right thumb. Chapter 11:11, Chapter 11:12 Oyizi. This is a ring that's passed down every generation in our northern mountains O clan to the clan leaders. It's said that this ring was passed down from the first clan leader of our O clan 10,000 years ago. Although Olai did not know why Duan Lingtian was asking this, he replied honestly. I hope you'll return this ring to the O clan after you kill me, sir. If you find it too troublesome, I hope you'll allow the Lu clan to return it on your behalf. Olai looked at Lu Rui when he reached the end of his sentence. Lu Rui glanced coldly at Olai before he turned to look at Duan Lingtian. Elder Duan, I've also heard about the O clan's ring before. It's only an item that's passed down every generation in the O clan. It only contains sentimental value, and it's not really that valuable. After he had explained to Duan Lingtian, Lu Rui looked at Olai again before he nonchalantly said, It's unlikely I would help you after all you've done today. However, for the sake of the friendship between the Lu clan and O clan previously, I'll have someone send the ring back to the Lu clan if Elder Duan permits it. Thank you, Olai said gratefully as he bowed earnestly at Lu Rui. He knew his action today deserved more than death. Even his death could not atone for all his crime. However, he would be a sinner in the O clan if he lost the ring that had been passed down for generations. He was extremely unwilling to see that happen. Whoosh! Under the watchful eyes of the others, Duan Lingtian vanished and appeared before Olai. Before Olai could even figure out what was happening, Duan Lingtian had already disappeared before his eyes again and returned to his original spot. The first thing Olai did was to look at his right hand. He instantly noticed the ring he wore on his right thumb had disappeared without a trace. Horror dawned on him as he quickly looked at Duan Lingtian. Sir, why you? When he was about to beg the purple-clad young man to return him the ring, he noticed a hint of warmth in young man's eyes as he studied the ring. Moreover, there was a hint of nostalgia as well. Everyone was confused. They did not know what was happening. Duan Lingtian shifted his gaze away from the ring to Olai and asked in a deep voice, What relationship do your northern mountains O clan has with Oyizi? Oyizi. The moment this words left Duan Lingtian's mouth, the people of Lu clan, including Lu Rui the clan leader, were stunned. On the contrary, horror dawned on Olai, and his body began to tremble. He looked at Duan Lingtian disbelievingly and asked in a trembling voice, how do you know our O clan's ancestor? O clan's ancestor? Duan Lingtian frowned before asking in a deep voice, do you mean your Northern Mountains O clan was actually founded by Oyizi? Elder Duan, don't be deceived by him. Before Olai could respond to Duan Lingtian's words, Lu Rui quickly interrupted, as far as I know, the Northern Mountains O clan was founded by a grade 1 alchemist named Ojia 10,000 years ago. It was not founded by Oyizi. Moreover, the first 10 clan leaders in the O clan are all clearly recorded in the journals passed down by our Lu clan's ancestors. There's never been such a person called Oyizi. Lu Rui finished his sentence in one breath. Lu Rui, don't jump to conclusion. Olai looked at Lu Rui calmly as he said in a tone that was neither fast nor slow, it's indeed true that Ojia was the one who founded our Northern Mountains O clan. This is, no doubt, a fact that I can't deny. Moreover, it's not just the first 10 clan leaders in O clan, there are no clan leaders with the name Oyizi at all, Olai continued. Since you've already admitted this, why are you still telling me not to jump to conclusions so fast? Lu Rui snorted. Don't forget, just like your Northern Mountains O clan, our Northern Mountains Lu clan is also a family that has a 10,000 years legacy. You'll have to go through us if you want to deceive Elder Duan. I admit that Oyizi was not a clan leader, but he's an ancestor of our Northern Mountains O clan, Olai continued. Please enlighten me, I really would like to see how you're going to keep pretending. The smirk on Lu Rui's face became even wider. Olai did not look at Lu Rui anymore after he gave him a look. Instead, he shifted his eyes to Duan Lingtian who stood nearby. Sir, although our Northern Mountains O clan is not founded by Oyizi, it's actually closely related to him. Ojia, the first clan leader of O clan, was the grandson of Oyizi. The ring in your hand was passed down from Oyizi to his son. His son was the father Ojia, the first clan leader of O clan. Ojia's father passed the ring to him. Ever since then, this ring has become a family heirloom in our O clan, Olai said in one breath. How can that be true? Lu Rui jeered. It was obvious he did not believe Olai's words. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian was calm. He stared at Olai as he asked, then, what's the name of the person who passed this ring to the first clan leader of O clan? According to the records passed down by our O clan's ancestors, the father of Ojia, the first clan leader of O clan, was called O Hong. Olai replied calmly. O Hong. The moment Duan Lingtian heard Olai's words, his eyes narrowed slightly. His heart was in turmoil. He did not expect that something so coincidental could happen. The Northern Mountains O clan was founded by someone the Rebirth Martial Emperor had taught before. Although the Rebirth Martial Emperor had never met the person who founded the Northern Mountains O clan, he knew that person's grandfather and father 10,000 years ago during the Rebirth Martial Emperor's second reincarnation. When the Rebirth Martial Emperor was still in his first reincarnation, other than raising his cultivation base to the Martial Emperor stage, his achievement in the medicine refinement Dao was also outstanding. He even became a royal-grade alchemist in the end. After that, thanks to the 3 lives rebirth technique, his soul that lay dormant for 10,000 years was reincarnated. That was 10,000 years ago from his current reincarnation. During that era, the Rebirth Martial Emperor rose through the ranks quickly due to his past life's memory and medicine cultivation technique and experience. Due to his previous life experience, he could yield twice the result with half the effort. It left him with a lot of free time. Soon after, he began studying the weapons refinement Dao and the inscription Dao intensively. When he was studying the weapons refinement Dao, a grade 1 weapons craftsman named Oyizi left a deep impression on him. According to the Rebirth Martial Emperor's memory, that person had reached the threshold of the quasi-royal grade weapons craftsman faster than he did. That person could not break through to the martial monarch stage, that was why he was unable to solidify the quasi-royal grade pillfire and thus, failed to become a quasi-royal grade weapons craftsman. During that era, there were not many martial emperors on Cloud Continent, so monarch stage profundity fragments were pretty rare back then. Through the memory of the Rebirth Martial Emperor, Duan Lingtian learned about the situation back then. According to the Rebirth Martial Emperor's memory, the reason his study of the weapons refinement Dao was so smooth was all thanks to Oyizi's guidance. Oyizi was the only teacher he acknowledged in his second reincarnation. After the Rebirth Martial Emperor made a breakthrough to the Martial Monarch stage and obtained his first Monarch stage profundity fragment after killing his first Martial Monarch, he wanted to give it to Oyizi. Who could have known at that time that Oyizi had already left this world? Due to this reason, he had given the profundity fragment to Oyizi's only son, Hong Yi. Duan Lingtian went through the rebirth martial emperor's memory because he found the ring on Olai's finger familiar. Through the rebirth martial emperor's memory, he discovered he had seen the ring on Oyizi in his past life. Due to that, he could vaguely guess that the Northern Mountains O clan had a connection to Oyizi. However, he did not expect the connection to be so deep. The Northern Mountains O clan was founded by Oyizi's grandson. For Oyizi's sake, I'll spare your life this time. Duan Lingtian regained his senses and glanced at Olai indifferently. He threw the ring back to Olai with a raise of his hand. He had obtained many benefits from the rebirth martial emperor as his third reincarnation. For the rebirth martial emperor's sake, he would spare Olai's life this once. Olai was ecstatic when he found out he would live, let alone the fact that the ring was also returned to him. However, he quickly calmed down. Was your ancestor good friends with our O clan's ancestor? Olai asked solemnly as he looked at Duan Lingtian. This was the only plausible reason he could come up with. You can say so, Duan Lingtian replied indifferently. Go, leave now. Olai nodded his head before he quickly turned to leave as though he was afraid Duan Lingtian would change his mind. Lu Rui was stunned when he saw Duan Lingtian letting Olai go, but he remained silent. Looks like that Oyizi or something from the O clan must have been a friend of Elder Duan 10,000 years ago. Otherwise, Elder Duan wouldn't have let him go, Lu Rui speculated. Under the watchful eyes of the others, Duan Lingtian's figure disappeared in a flash before materializing again. As it turned out, he went to collect the spatial rings and profundities fragments from Chenghe and the other three. To his surprise, Mo Jia's profundity fragment turned out to be a sword profundity fragment. Shang Quan. Under all the envious gazes, Duan Lingtian raised a hand and threw the sword profundity fragment to Shang Quan. Shang Quan caught it excitedly as though he had obtained a rare treasure. He was no longer the rash fellow that had not seen much of the world. He knew without a doubt that the thing his young master gave him was a valuable sword profundity fragment. With this profundity fragment, he could comprehend sword profundity quickly. After he had broken through to the void transformation stage, he would be able to use the spirit fruits to push his cultivation base up to breakthrough to the martial monarch stage in one fell swoop and become a martial monarch. At that time, I'll be able to help my young master. Shang Quan looked forward to what the future would bring. Chapter 11-12, Clan Leader. Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Rui who was staring at the three profundity fragments in his hands. Lu Rui's eyes were filled with a hint of excitement. It was not just him. Even the Lu clan's elders and disciples were staring intently at the three profundity fragments in Duan Lingtian's hands. Three profundity fragments represented three martial monarch powerhouses. Elder Duan, Lu Rui replied respectfully without delay when he heard Duan Lingtian calling him. He previously respected Duan Lingtian due to his identity, but he currently respected Duan Lingtian due to his terrifying strength. These three monarch stage profundity fragments will be given to the family. Duan Lingtian raised his arm and threw the three profundity fragments in his hands to Lu Rui as though he was disposing of trash. However, Lu Rui caught it and held it like a treasure. He thanked Duan Lingtian excitedly. I thank Elder Duan for the gift on behalf of the family. Monarch stage profundity fragments were extremely valuable even for a family like the Lu clan. Only the Lu clan's former clan leader, Lu Chu, was able to kill ordinary first, second or third level martial monarch martial artists with his cultivation base at the fourth level martial monarch stage and obtain the monarch stage profundity fragments in their bodies. However, how many martial monarchs could one meet apart from those in second-rate forces in the southern outer land? Lu Chu would not dare to simply kill a martial monarch even if he truly met one. Who knew if killing a martial monarch would bring trouble to the Lu clan? With him at the Lu clan's estate, the Lu clan did not need to worry if people came looking for trouble. However, could the people from Lu clan avoid going out? Could he protect every single person in the Lu clan at the same time? Due to that reason, Lu Chu would not kill another martial monarch if it was not necessary. There was no way for him to obtain profundity fragments for the Lu clan if he did not kill martial monarchs. If the Lu clan wanted another martial monarch powerhouse, they would need profundity fragments. Otherwise, it would be very difficult. The three profundity fragments Duan Lingtian gave to Lu Rui was extremely useful. It was enough to help Lu clan produce three martial monarch powerhouses in the near future. Lu Rui was not the only one who was excited. Most people from the Lu clan were also excited. Clan leader, you don't have to thank me, I'm a simple person. I won't mistreat those who treat me well. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. What he meant was obvious. Earlier, the Lu clan had protected him and showed him kindness, he was appreciative of it no matter how it ended. The profundity fragments could be considered as a thank you gift. You can dismiss everyone. Duan Lingtian glanced at the crowd. All of them were Lu clan's elders and disciples. Everyone's eyes were trained on him. Duan Lingtian words were undoubtedly meant for Lu Rui. Lu Rui heard it and immediately dismissed the Lu clan's elders and disciples. Instantly, there were only a few people left on the scene. Only Lu Rui, Lu Chu the former clan leader, and the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders were left from the Lu clan. Elder Duan, Lu Chu and the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders looked at Duan Lingtian. Their eyes were filled with admiration. Lu Chu was still slightly composed since he knew about Duan Lingtian's background. Although Duan Lingtian was outrageously strong, he reasoned that it was because Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor from 10,000 years ago. That kind of existence was not something he could comprehend. However, the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders did not know about Duan Lingtian's background. Lu Yuan, who was as fat as a ball, blinked his small eyes as he looked at Duan Lingtian. He asked with a smile on his fat face, Elder Duan, the energy earlier has 5 colors, is that your innate ability? After Lu Yuan asked the question, Lu Gui and Lu Ji also turned to look at Duan Lingtian. They were curious about the matter as well. The 5-colored energy Elder Duan displayed earlier was really terrifying. It was to the extent that he could kill 2 4th-level martial monarch stage powerhouses even though his cultivation base was only at the 1st-level martial monarch stage. You can consider it so. Duan Lingtian nodded lightly. He did not bother explaining since they thought he was a variant. We can consider it so. The 3 of them were stunned. They noticed Duan Lingtian seemed unwilling to discuss it, so they sensibly kept their mouth closed and took turns to leave. Finally, only Lu Rui and Lu Chu were left from the Lu clan. As for Feng Tianwu and Shang Quan, one of them stood beside Duan Lingtian, and the other stood behind Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian looked at both of them and said, Clan leader, former clan leader, if there's nothing else, you may leave too. Elder Duan, rest well. We'll take our leave. Lu Rui and Lu Chu sensibly took their leave. Young master, your strength. After they left, Shang Quan looked at Duan Lingtian with glowing eyes. He was very interested in what happened to Duan Lingtian in the past 3 months that his strength became so terrifying. I had a breakthrough in my cultivation methods. Duan Lingtian smiled a little. Shang Quan, you cultivate properly, with the sword profundity fragment and the boost from spirit fruits, you should be able to break through to the martial monarch stage quickly. Yes, Shang Quan nodded. Young master, I'll return to cultivate now. He returned to his room to cultivate the minute he finished speaking. Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu with eyes as gentle as water and asked with a smile, Tianwu, how's your strength? 7th level void transformation. The coldness on Feng Tianwu's face disappeared when faced with Duan Lingtian. She blinked her clear eyes and said softly, I've also comprehended the 4th level monarch stage fire concept. 7th level void transformation. 4th level monarch stage fire concept. Duan Lingtian lifted his eyebrow in surprise. This means if you fully exert your strength with a quasi-royal grade spirit sword, your strength is equivalent to the strength of 1 ancient black dragon and 2,000 ancient horned dragons. A 7th level void transformation martial artist's origin energy was equivalent to the strength of 1,000 ancient horned dragons. The quasi-royal grade spirit sword could increase it 1-fold to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. Moreover, Feng Tianwu had comprehended the 4th level monarch stage fire concept that was equivalent to the strength of 5,000 ancient horned dragons. Her fire profundity would elevate her sword profundity to the same level. That meant her sword profundity was at the 4th level monarch stage sword profundity. Similarly, it was equivalent to 5,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. In total, it was equivalent to the strength of 12,000 ancient horned dragons. 10,000 ancient horned dragons' strength was equivalent to 1 ancient black dragon's strength. During the heaven and earth phenomenon, the 10,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes would manifest as 1 ancient black dragon silhouette. Feng Tianwu nodded. If she fully exerted her strength, she could exert the strength of 1 ancient black dragon and 2,000 ancient horned dragons. I didn't expect you to improve so much within 3 months' time, Duan Lingtian said. I've improved a lot but not as much as you did, Feng Tianwu replied. I'm different. Duan Lingtian shook his head when he heard Feng Tianwu's words, and he became slightly distracted. His changes in the past few months felt like a dream when he thought about them. Different. Duan Lingtian snapped back to reality when he heard Feng Tianwu's question. He nodded. Anyway, the same goes for you. Make good use of the time to cultivate. We'll return to the northern desert once your cultivation has improved. Duan Lingtian continued to say, after Shang Quan's cultivation base has improved, when we return to the northern desert, we'll cross the Ruo Shui River and head to the inner land. Duan Lingtian could not help but feel a little excited when he thought about these two words. The inner land was nothing to him since he had the rebirth martial emperor's memories from his previous two lives, but it would still be his first visit to that place where powerhouses were a common sight. Being there in person was completely different from scouring the rebirth martial emperor's memory. Northern Desert. Feng Tianwu's face tensed when she heard Duan Lingtian's words. Are we going to see my father? She had learned about her past from Duan Lingtian, so she knew her father was at the Blade sect in the northern desert. Duan Lingtian saw the uncertainty in Feng Tianwu's face and asked, why? You don't want to go? No, I just feel a little nervous. Feng Tianwu shook her head. She looked a little lost. My father, I can't remember anything at all. Do you think he'll be mad? Of course not. Duan Lingtian shook his head. He leaned forward and took a step closer to Feng Tianwu before he reached out to gently stroke her long hair to comfort her. Don't worry, your father's a nice person. There was a rare blush on Feng Tianwu's pretty face because of Duan Lingtian's close proximity. His masculine body caused her heart to beat rapidly in her chest. Go cultivate. Once your cultivation base has broken through to the martial monarch stage, we'll return to the northern desert, Duan Lingtian said to Feng Tianwu. Feng Tianwu nodded obediently before she disappeared like a fire elf before Duan Lingtian's eyes. Finally, only Duan Lingtian was left standing in the air. He suddenly lifted his arm and an energy appeared in his hand. The energy had 5 colors. This is incredible, Duan Lingtian muttered when he saw the energy in his hand. His breathing quickened involuntarily. A month ago, he had successfully comprehended 3 monarch stage profundities during his strict closed-door cultivation. The first-level monarch stage sword profundity, first-level monarch stage wind profundity, and first-level monarch stage earth profundity. Moreover, his wind profundity would elevate his fire profundity to the same level. That meant he had comprehended 4 monarch stage profundities. Meanwhile, his cultivation base had also improved. He had broken through to the martial monarch stage and successfully become a martial monarch powerhouse. He had also begun to cultivate the 9th form of the 9 Dragons War Sovereign technique, which was also the last form. It was called the Divine Dragon form. Chapter 11:13. Duan Lingtian was attempting to cultivate the 9th form of 9 Dragons War Sovereign technique, the Divine Dragon form. He began by cultivating the Heaven rank advanced defensive martial skill, the 9 Dragons Barrier, which was a part of the Divine Dragon form. Once the 9 Dragons Barrier was cultivated to the peak, one could transform their energy into 9 divine dragons and wrap them around oneself as a form of protection. It was an extremely powerful defensive martial skill. However, the current Duan Lingtian had yet to cultivate this martial skill. Even so, the 9 Dragons War Sovereign technique's 9th form, Divine Dragon form, still shocked Duan Lingtian. Since Duan Lingtian had broken through to the martial monarch stage and began cultivating the 9 Dragons War Sovereign technique's 9th form, Divine Dragon form, he made a shocking discovery. Originally, he could use his wind profundity to elevate his fire profundity. However, he discovered that his fire profundity could also similarly elevate his water profundity. Fire profundity elevating water profundity. It sounded impossible. Who in this world did not know that water inhibits fire and that water and fire were opposing elements? However, Duan Lingtian managed to elevate his water profundity through his fire profundity to the same level. Maybe it's because fire and water are two extremes. Fire at its extreme gives rise to water. This was the only plausible conclusion Duan Lingtian could come up with. This meant that Duan Lingtian had comprehended water profundity, sword profundity, wind profundity, earth profundity, and fire profundity. 5 types of profundities. Moreover, all of them were first-level monarch stage profundities. Although Duan Lingtian's cultivation base was at the first-level martial monarch stage, he had mastered 5 profundities. Even if they were merely at the first-level monarch stage profundity, it was enough to shock everyone. It would not be so shocking if this was the only surprise the 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique's 9th form, Divine Dragon form, had in store for Duan Ling Tian. However, Duan Ling Tian had also successfully comprehended his Thunder Profundity to the first level Monarch stage Thunder Profundity through the Thunder Profundity fragment. After he comprehended the Thunder Profundity, he discovered the origin energy in his body was emitting a mysterious power when he used the Divine Dragon form's mental cultivation method to cultivate. The nature profundities were the Wind Profundity, Fire Profundity, Thunder Profundity, Water Profundity, and Earth Profundity. These were the 5 profundities Duan Ling Tian had comprehended. Initially, Duan Ling Tian did not expect the mysterious power from the Divine Dragon form to affect the 5 nature profundities. Soon after, he was shocked when he discovered the 5 nature profundities had fused into one due to the mysterious power and turned into a completely new type of energy. The energy was in the form of a profundity, but it was different from an ordinary profundity. One might wonder why it was different. It was because the new 5-colored energy possessed an extremely terrifying strength. Under normal circumstances, if he mobilized 5 first-level Monarch stage nature profundities, the strength would be equivalent to the strength of 1 ancient black dragon and 2,000 ancient horned dragons. Put aside the Earth Profundity's ability to draw support from Earth energy or the Wind Profundity's ability to fuel and amplify the Fire Profundity, 5 first-level Monarch stage nature profundities were equivalent to the strength of 10,000 ancient horned dragons or 1 ancient black dragon. Even with the boost from the Earth energy and the Wind Profundity fueling the Fire Profundity, it was equivalent to the strength of 1 ancient black dragon and 2,000 ancient horned dragons. Due to that, the scene when he experimented with fusing 5 nature profundities together was still fresh in his mind. After Duan Ling Tian fused the profundities together, he could clearly remember the scene where he gathered the heaven and earth energy to form the heaven and earth phenomenon. There were 2 ancient black dragon silhouettes. 2 ancient black dragons. There was an additional 8,000 ancient horned dragon strength compared to when he routinely exerted 5 first-level Monarch stage nature profundities. Eventually, Duan Ling Tian discovered the 5 first-level Monarch stage nature profundities did not separate after they were fused together and had transformed into a new energy instead. Currently, he could not mobilize a single nature profundity, he could only mobilize the fused nature profundities. It could also be considered as a profundity. A new profundity, no matter what it is, it's definitely beneficial to me. A smile appeared on Duan Ling Tian's face. Initially, Duan Ling Tian was only momentarily happy before he fell deep in thoughts. The new profundity was indeed strong, but how quickly could he comprehend and improve it? Although the 5 nature profundities were not as strong as the new profundity, he could quickly comprehend and improve them through the corresponding profundity fragments. Duan Ling Tian was quite concerned about this matter. He only heaved a sigh of relief after he discovered he could comprehend and improve the new profundity through any type of nature profundities he had comprehended. In fact, he realized he could comprehend and improve the new profundity even faster if he held 3 different nature profundity fragments in his hands. For example, when he held the Wind Profundity fragment, Thunder Profundity fragment, and Earth Profundity fragment. The only thing I'm uncertain about now is the improvement of the new profundity. It would be amazing if it's like an Emperor stage profundity. Duan Ling Tian daydreamed. Emperor stage profundity. The first level was equivalent to 2 ancient black dragons' strength. The second level was equivalent to 3 ancient black dragons' strength. 9th level Emperor stage profundity was equivalent to 10 ancient black dragons' strength. If the new fused profundity Duan Ling Tian had comprehended could rise to the Emperor stage profundity, would that not mean he had mastered an Emperor stage profundity at the martial monarch stage? What did it mean for a martial monarch to master an Emperor stage profundity? The fused profundity was equivalent to 2 ancient black dragons' strength, and it was much stronger than ordinary 9th level Monarch stage profundities. Ordinary 9th level Monarch stage profundities were only equivalent to 1 ancient black dragon's strength. Currently, Duan Ling Tian's fused profundity was equivalent to 2 ordinary 9th level Monarch stage profundities. That was equivalent to the strength of 2 ancient black dragons. A first level martial Monarch stage martial artist who mastered 2 9th level Monarch stage profundities. Who would believe it? Moreover, apart from the fused profundity, I've also comprehended the first-level Monarch stage sword profundity. Duan Ling Tian muttered in a low voice as his eyes gleamed. First-level Monarch stage sword profundity is equivalent to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. Additionally, first-level martial Monarch stage origin energy is equivalent to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength, and the quasi-royal grade spirit sword gives an additional 1-fold increase. If I unleash my full strength now, my strength is equivalent to the strength of 2 ancient black dragons and 6,000 ancient horned dragons. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as the smile on his face widened. Ordinary 6th level martial monarch stage martial artists have strength equivalent to 8,000 ancient horned dragons' strength if they fully exert their origin energy. With the addition of a grade 1 spirit weapon, it would increase his strength by 88%. That means it would give an additional 7,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. Let's say he has comprehended a 6th level monarch stage profundity and 2 1st level monarch stage profundities. All 3 profundities would be equivalent to 11,000 ancient horned dragons' strength or the strength of 1 ancient black dragon and 1,000 ancient horned dragons. All in all, his strength would be equivalent to the strength of 2 ancient black dragons and 6,000 ancient horned dragons. That's about the same as my current strength. Duan Lingtian had a clearer understanding of his current strength. However, I'm confident I'll be able to kill a 6th level martial monarch stage martial artist if I meet one. Ruthlessness flickered in Duan Lingtian's eyes. He did not know when, but 9 swords appeared around his body. All 9 swords were hovering around his body and exuded killing intent. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian called out, 9 Tribulation Sword Control Technique. The 9 swords hovering around his body shot out instantly and transformed into 9 streaks of fast-moving lights. The speed was so fast that an average person would not be able to see it at all. 9 Dragons Radiant Flash, Duan Lingtian called out without pause. Instantly, each of the 9 streaks of fast-moving light that flew out transformed into 9 divine dragons. There were 81 divine dragons in total. As the 81 pairs of divine dragons' eyes blinked, 162 extremely radiant beams of light shot out and disappeared in the horizon. The speed was so fast that even Duan Lingtian only managed to capture a trace of it. The Perfection Stage 9 Tribulation Sword Control Technique and the Perfection Stage 9 Dragon's Radiant Flash, I'll be victorious if I use both of them together. Within the time Duan Lingtian took to raise his arm, the 9 swords that flew out returned and merged into one again before it fell gently into Duan Lingtian's hands. It was Duan Lingtian's quasi-royal grade spirit sword that was inscribed with the magical Split Unite formation. This Split Unite formation is not illusory. It doesn't feel like it's from Cloud Continent. I don't even know where the Tempest Sword Monarch obtained it from. The more Duan Lingtian learned about the Split Unite formation, the more he felt it was extraordinary. It could divide an actual object into 9, and it was not just images. It completely defied logic. Soon, Duan Lingtian's attention shifted. Now, my spiritual energy has increased in accordance with my cultivation base's improvement to the 1st level martial monarch stage. It's enough to simultaneously control 9 swords. I've officially entered the perfection stage of the 9 Tribulation Sword Control Technique. Chapter 11-14. It's really worthy of being the 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique's 9th form, the Divine Dragon form. It's really godlike. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself. There was a smile on his face. Ever since he had broken through to the martial monarch stage, his strength soared as he crossed several levels in just one go. He had reached the stage where he was comparable to a 6th level martial monarch stage martial artist. He could even kill ordinary 6th level martial monarch stage martial artists without too much difficulty. All of it was thanks to the 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique's 9th form, the Divine Dragon form. According to the Rebirth Martial Emperor's memory, he only knew the 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique's 9th form, the Divine Dragon form, could give rise to a new type of profundity. However, he did not know what profundity it would be. Through the 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique's 9th form, the Divine Dragon form, Duan Lingtian could elevate the water profundity through the fire profundity even though they were conflicting elements. I can't find anything about the fusion of the nature profundities in the Rebirth Martial Emperor's memory. This means even the Rebirth Martial Emperor didn't know this would happen. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath when he realized he had reached a stage where even the Rebirth Martial Emperor did not reach. Fused profundity. Duan Lingtian muttered in a low voice when he looked at the profundity in his hand that contained 5 colors with gleaming eyes. I hope you're like an Emperor stage profundity and will add another ancient black dragon's strength every time I improve a level. Duan Lingtian returned to his room after he recovered from the shock. He sat cross-legged on his bed and began to cultivate with his eyes closed. The 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique, Divine Dragon form. Duan Lingtian closed his eyes to cultivate with 3 profundity fragments in his hands. They were all nature profundity fragments. There were no sword profundity fragment. In Duan Lingtian's opinion, it was more important to raise the fused profundity because it had more potential than the sword profundity. Naturally, that did not mean he had given up on the sword profundity. While he comprehended the fused profundity through the three nature profundity fragments, he also comprehended the obscure information he memorized from the sword Dao contained in the word, sword, that was inscribed by Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. He had a strong gut feeling that it would be more reliable to comprehend the sword Dao left behind by Sword Saint Feng Qingyang instead of elevating the sword profundity through profundity fragments. Time passed by quietly. In just a blink of an eye, 1 month had gone by. Duan Lingtian opened his eyes. There was a glint in his eyes. The medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill in my body completely boiled over when my cultivation base broke through to the martial monarch stage. With the assistance of the rebirth pill's medicinal efficacy, the bottleneck leading to the second-level martial monarch stage has appeared in my body. Give me 1 more month. I'm confident I'll be able to break through to the second-level martial monarch stage. Duan Lingtian thought as a smile appeared on his face. With the assistance of the rebirth pill's potent medicinal efficacy, his progress at the martial monarch stage could be considered as heaven-defying. Once a martial artist's cultivation base reached the martial monarch stage, they could no longer rapidly improve their cultivation through spirit fruits. Everything would progress slowly and steadily. Naturally, that did not mean there were no shortcuts. Although martial artists at the martial monarch stage or above could no longer rapidly improve their cultivation through consuming spirit fruits, they could speed up their cultivation through all types of pills that were similar to refined spirit fruits made for void transformation martial artists. Naturally, it was only a little faster. It was still lacking compared to the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill. The rebirth pill could be considered as the king of all pills. Ordinary pills were not comparable to it. The pills comparable to the rebirth pill were extremely rare and precious pills. They would be no less difficult to obtain than a rebirth pill. Due to this reason, the speed of Duan Lingtian's cultivation was extremely fast compared to other martial monarch stage martial artists. It had not been more than 2 months since Duan Lingtian had broken through to the first-level martial monarch stage, but he was confident he would be able to break through to the second-level martial monarch stage in just another month. What it meant was it took him 3 months to break through to the first-level martial monarch stage and subsequently to the second-level martial monarch stage. The speed was too heaven-defying. If word got out, many martial artists would be shocked. By now, Tian Wu should have almost broken through to the martial monarch stage, Duan Lingtian muttered. Since Tian Wu has not broken through yet, I'll refine some pills. Now that I can condense quasi-royal grade pill fire, I can refine grade 1 pills with even higher purity. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed. There was a wisp of flame in his palm when he lifted his arm. The wisp of flame was different from the grade 1 pill fire he used to condense. The grade 1 pill fire he had was the violet gold pill fire. The flames were purple entwined with gold. However, the current flames were completely golden. More accurately, it was a dark gold flame. Even if 100 alchemists were present, none of them would be able to identify the pill fire. This was because the quasi-royal grade pill fire was superior to grade 1 pill fire. The quasi-royal grade pill fire was also known as the dark gold pill fire. After Duan Lingtian condensed the dark gold pill fire, he took out his cauldron. When he looked at the cauldron before him, he realized he had forgotten something important. His current cauldron was only a grade 1 spirit weapon, it would not be able to withstand his quasi-royal grade pill fire. I can condense the quasi-royal grade weapon flame now to raise my cauldron's level to the quasi-royal grade, but I don't have enough materials for it. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly as he put out the quasi-royal grade pill fire. I'll craft it after we return to the northern desert. Tian Wu should be almost done with her breakthrough. Duan Lingtian walked out of his room and arrived before Feng Tian Wu's room door. He extended his spiritual energy into the room and easily detected Feng Tian Wu's situation. Just as he had speculated, Feng Tian Wu was on the verge of breaking through to the martial monarch stage. Just a little bit more, and she would successfully break through to the martial monarch stage to become a martial monarch powerhouse. Judging by Tian Wu's situation, she'll probably need a few more days to break through, and I'll look for the clan leader and see if the Lu clan has the materials I need. Besides, I can ask the clan leader if he knows which foreign land Force Ka and Little Fair is in. With that thought in his mind, he left to look for the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. Lu Rui immediately stopped everything he was doing when he found out Duan Lingtian had come to look for him. He hurriedly went out to greet him. Elder Duan. Lu Rui greeted Duan Lingtian warmly as he led him into the main hall of his mansion. Duan Lingtian seemed to have noticed something. He smiled faintly and congratulated Lu Rui. "Congratulations, clan leader." Elder Duan noticed it. The shock was apparent on Lu Rui's face. He had just broken through to the martial monarch stage yesterday. So far, the only person in Lu clan that knew he had a breakthrough was himself. He did not expect Elder Duan, who had only just seen him, would be able to notice his change. He could not help but exclaim, "Truly worthy of being the third reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor." Duan Lingtian nodded before he bluntly said, "Clan leader, I came this time to request for some help." "Elder Duan, you're too kind. Any request you have, the Lu clan will do its best to get it done," Lu Rui said solemnly without any apprehension. He did not dare to neglect Elder Duan. Even if he disregarded Duan Lingtian's identity and extraordinary strength, he was only able to break through to the martial monarch stage due to Elder Duan's blessing. Therefore, he was duty-bound to work for Elder Duan. Duan Lingtian shook his head and said, "It's nothing difficult, I just need some materials. I wonder if Lu clan has it, so I came to ask you." "What materials?" Lu Rui asked. After that, Duan Lingtian listed the materials he needed. Those materials were required to upgrade his cauldron. Although they were not considered rare in the inner land on Cloud Continent, they were quite rare in the outer land. That was why he was not certain if the Lu clan had it. After all, the Lu clan was just a second-rate force in the outer land on Cloud Continent. "I'll go look for it now, please wait for a moment, Elder Duan." Lu Rui left in a hurry as soon as he finished speaking. "Clan leader, please stay for a moment." Duan Lingtian stopped Lu Rui. "Elder Duan, is there anything else?" Lu Rui was puzzled. "Clan leader, do you know of a sect with a volcano and a snow peak in its estate? If I'm not mistaken, all the male martial artists reside near the volcano and the female martial artists reside on the snow peak," Duan Lingtian asked. "Elder Duan, are you talking about the Yin-Yang sect?" Lu Rui immediately asked after he heard Duan Lingtian's question. "Yin-Yang sect?" Duan Lingtian's eyes brightened. He added, "I'm not sure what it's called. The Yin-Yang sect you speak of, do they have a volcano and a snow peak in their estate?" Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Rui expectantly as his heart began to palpitate. He felt nervous. This concerned the whereabouts of his two fiancées after all. He had not seen those two lovely persons for many years now, and he really missed them in his heart. "Yes," Lu Rui nodded. "As far as I know, only Yin-Yang sect's estate has a volcano and a snow peak. The volcano is called Yang Peak, and the snow peak is called Yin Peak. All of the male martial artists are on the Yang Peak, and the female martial artists are all on Yin Peak," Lu Rui said in one breath. "Volcano, Yang Peak, Snow Peak, Yin Peak." Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed. He realized there was a high possibility the sect Lu Rui mentioned was the sect he was looking for. "Do you know where the Yin-Yang sect is located?" Duan Lingtian asked urgently. Chapter 11:15, Yin-Yang sect's a first-rate force located in the inner land on the other side of Ruo Shui River. There's a swift boat from the northern mountain land to the inner land every 3 days. The boat belongs to the Yin-Yang sect, Lu Rui said to Duan Lingtian. He did not explain what a swift boat was because he believed Elder Duan definitely knew what it was. Swift boats had existed on Cloud Continent for more than 10,000 years. In his opinion, it was impossible Elder Duan did not know about swift boats since he was the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor from 10,000 years ago. Indeed, Duan Lingtian knew what swift boats were. Swift boats were similar to boats. The difference was swift boats traveled in the air instead of on the water. Swift boats were made from a special material inscribed with a lot of complicated inscription formations and directly powered with high-grade origin stones. Due to that, swift boats were very stable when it flew in the sky. Through the rebirth martial emperor's memory, Duan Lingtian clearly knew what sort of place the Ruo Shui River was. Ruo Shui River was an extremely frightening and dangerous place. It could be said that martial artists below the martial monarch stage would die if they crossed the Ruo Shui River. Danger lurked in the waters of Ruo Shui River. In addition to having an extremely shocking gravitational pull, it was also extremely corrosive. One would definitely die one was to touch it. Even an ordinary martial monarch stage martial artist would be pulled into the whirlpool if they encountered it. Not even their bones would be left behind. Swift boats were used because of how terrifying the Ruo Shui River was. Apart from really strong and confident martial monarchs, no one else dared to cross the Ruo Shui River. They could only take a swift boat to cross the Ruo Shui River. Naturally, swift boats were not 100% safe either. Apart from the terrifying Ruo Shui River, bandits were also another major problem. Generally, martial artists who could afford to pay the fee to board the swift boats were cash cows in the bandits' eyes. Therefore, a lot of powerful bandits would take smaller swift boats to rob passing swift boats at Ruo Shui River and profit from it. On Cloud Continent, apart from fighting the heavens, one would also have to fight with the people. Yin-Yang sects a first-rate force on the other side of Ruo Shui River. Duan Lingtian's eyes brightened, and his breathing quickened again. "Ka, little fair, I'll see you guys soon," Duan Lingtian muttered to himself. A warm smile appeared on his face. After so many years, both of them would certainly be more beautiful. There was a glint in Duan Lingtian's eyes. There was a hint of anticipation on his face. He could not wait to be reunited with them. "Elder Duan, if there's nothing else, I'll go and have a look," Lu Rui said when he saw Duan Lingtian was distracted. Duan Lingtian recovered and nodded. "Go ahead." After Lu Rui left, Duan Lingtian waited at the main hall for Lu Rui. Half an hour later, Lu Rui returned and brought several materials that he needed. "Elder Duan, our Lu clan's treasure vault doesn't everything you need. I managed to find some in the former clan leader's collection." Duan Lingtian nodded and took out his grade 1 spirit weapon cauldron in front of Lu Rui. At the same time, a raging flame appeared in his hands. Weapon flame. Lu Rui's eyes brightened. He had learned that the rebirth martial emperor was not just a powerhouse at the peak of martial Dao and a top alchemist, he was also a top weapon craftsman and inscription master from the journals that his ancestors handed down. Today, he finally saw the third reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor's weapon flame. However, the weapon flame seemed a little different. "Duan, Elder Duan, what's this weapon flame? As far as I know, the color of weapons craftsman's weapon flame should correspond to the grade similar to alchemists, Pillfire, right? Why's your weapon flame dark gold?" Lu Rui looked at the dancing dark gold flame in Duan Lingtian's hands in confusion. He had never seen nor heard of such a weird weapon flame. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly and ignored Lu Rui. He lifted his arm and melted the materials Lu Rui had given him into several pools of liquid. "How's that possible?" Lu Rui's eyes widened. The shock was written all over his face. It was natural for him to feel shocked. Among the materials he found for Elder Duan in the treasure vault, the Lu clan kept a record for one of them. Nearly 1,000 years ago, a Lu clan ancestor who was a grade 1 alchemist had failed to liquefy that material even after spending 3 days and 3 nights refining it with grade 1 Pillfire. However, the dark golden flame in Elder Duan's hands liquefied it in just a moment. A grade 1 Pillfire is not inferior to a grade 1 weapon flame. This means it would be difficult for the grade 1 weapon flame to liquefy the material too. Lu Rui's heartbeat quickened. He thought he could hear his own heart beating. At that moment, all he felt was shock. Unless, the flame in Elder Duan's hand has surpassed a grade 1 weapon flame. Lu Rui was taken aback. According to the journal handed down by the founder of Lu clan 10,000 years ago, the rebirth martial emperor's attainment in the medicine refinement Dao was already above a grade 1 alchemist. Could it be his attainment in the weapon refinement Dao has also surpassed a grade 1 weapon craftsman as well? The weapon flame he condensed is a higher grade than a grade 1 weapon flame. The more Lu Rui thought about it, the more shocked he became. Lu Rui's thoughts were still spinning when the dark gold flame in Duan Lingtian's hands enveloped the grade 1 spirit weapon cauldron and liquefied it. The liquid began to boil and roil in just an instant. Following that, Duan Lingtian did not relax. Instead, he retrieved several materials from his spatial ring before he melted it and mixed it with the existing pools of liquid. In the beginning, the pools of liquids were extremely repellent to each other. However, when the dark gold flame swept out and enveloped them, they quickly merged into one. From the beginning until the end, it only took half an hour. The silhouette of a new cauldron began to form in the dark gold flame. After another half an hour, an entirely new cauldron fell into Duan Lingtian's hands as the flame vanished. Quasi-royal grade spirit weapon cauldron. Duan Lingtian smiled in satisfaction when he looked at the cauldron in his hand. It was the first quasi-royal grade spirit weapon cauldron he had refined. This cauldron, Lu Rui finally recovered from his shock at this moment. His gaze did not leave the cauldron in Duan Lingtian's hands. Lu clan had several grade 1 spirit weapon cauldrons left behind by their ancestors from 10,000 years ago. However, in Lu Rui's eyes, all those grade 1 spirit weapon cauldrons could not compete with the one before his eyes. This cauldron seemed to be better than a grade 1 spirit weapon cauldron. Before Lu Rui could react, Duan Lingtian made another move. As he lifted his hand, another dark gold flame appeared in his hand. This is pill fire. Lu Rui gulped when he saw the scene before his eyes. Dark gold pill fire. He had never seen nor heard about it before. Soon after, Lu Rui saw Duan Lingtian retrieving a pile of medicinal materials that he was very familiar with. He recognized them with just one glance. It's medicinal materials to refine grade 1 life recovery pills. Lu Rui was so fascinated with Duan Lingtian's method of refining medicine that he just stood there staring. He had forgotten about time and everything else. After an hour, Duan Lingtian raised his arm and smacked the cauldron. The dark gold flame formed a light shield around the cauldron's spout. Instantly, several streaks of light shot out of the spout through the light shield formed by the dark gold flame before it fell into Duan Lingtian's hand. It was pills. After Duan Lingtian put his cauldron away, he opened up his hand that contained the pills. There were 10 glowing pills that emitted a strong medicinal aroma. When Duan Lingtian was about to put the 10 pills he had refined into a pill bottle, a voice entered his ears. Duan, Elder Duan, can I have a look? When he glanced over, he noticed that Lu Rui was staring at the pills in his hands. In reply, a pill shot toward Lu Rui with just a flick of Duan Lingtian's fingers. Lu Rui reached out and carefully caught the pill in his hand. In the past, he had seen many grade 1 life recovery pills. However, the one in his hand now seemed as though it weighed 1,000 tons. This was because the purity of the pill was extraordinary. Lu Rui shifted his gaze over to Duan Lingtian and asked, Elder Duan, this grade 1 life recovery pill's purity is more than 97%. He was lucky enough to have seen a grade 1 life recovery pills with 97% purity a month ago. Although it was just a glance, he could tell that grade 1 life recovery pill was inferior to the one in his hand. Duan Lingtian nodded and casually said, the grade 1 life recovery pills I refined this time only have 99% purity. It's just passable. 99% purity, just passable. Lu Rui's eyes widened, and the corner of his mouth twitched. He felt like he was on different wavelength from the purple-clad young man standing before him. Something's amiss. Lu Rui seemed to have realized something. Earlier, the number of medicinal materials Elder Duan took out seemed to be the standard number of medicinal materials. To be able to refine 10 grade 1 life recovery pills with the standard number of medicinal materials. Does that mean, Elder Duan, success rate of forming pills when refining grade 1 life recovery pills is 100%? Lu Rui was stunned. Chapter 11:16, Clan Leader, I plan to refine some of these grade 1 life recovery pills for the clan, however, the clan will have to prepare the materials. Duan Lingtian said as he looked at a distracted Lu Rui. No problem. Lu Rui was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. When he regained his sense, he hurriedly nodded like a chick pecking on grains. It was as though he was afraid Duan Lingtian would change his mind. Elder Duan, I'll make the necessary preparation, Lu Rui said. He made a move to return the grade 1 life recovery pill with 99% purity to Duan Lingtian before he left to make the necessary preparation. Keep it. Duan Lingtian shook his head. He did not take the pill that Lu Rui handed over. Thank you, Elder Duan. Lu Rui quickly thanked him before he turned to leave in a rush. This was not a joke. It was related to the grade 1 life recovery pills with 99% purity. How would he dare to take his own time? Such pure grade 1 life recovery pills, the effects should be very close to the legendary effect of reviving the dead and regrowing meat, Lu Rui muttered softly to himself as he left. Duan Lingtian looked at the surging dark gold flame and said under his breath, I can now refine quasi-royal grade spirit weapons that can increase one's strength by 1-fold as long as I have the necessary materials. However, the materials required to refine quasi-royal grade spirit weapons are more complicated compared to the materials needed to refine the quasi-royal grade spirit weapon cauldron. It'll be difficult to obtain them. Duan Lingtian knew this because of the rebirth martial emperor's memory. Soon after, Lu Rui returned with a large number of medicinal materials to refine grade 1 life recovery pills. There were 30 batches of medicinal materials. After Duan Lingtian performed blood ownership claim on the spatial ring, he looked at the medicinal material in it. The corner of his mouth twitched when he saw what was inside. Clan leader, are you trying to tire me to death? Elder Duan, don't misunderstand, you just have to refine 10 batches of these medicinal materials. You can consider the remaining as a reward from the Lu clan to Elder Duan, Lu Rui quickly said. Duan Lingtian understood Lu Rui's intention. It seemed as though Lu Rui had more to say. After a while, he bit the bullet and hesitantly asked, there's one more thing, Elder Duan, I wonder if you'll allow me to summon a few elders to observe as you refine the Grade 1 life recovery pills. Duan Lingtian nodded before saying, you can. However, I dislike noise and excitement. Apart from that, they have to be Grade 2 alchemists like you. Yes, Lu Rui hurriedly nodded. He left the main hall and ordered someone to summon a few Grade 2 alchemists. The few Grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan instantly abandoned whatever they were doing and rushed over as soon as they heard they were allowed to observe Elder Duan refine medicine. Who was Elder Duan? A Grade 1 alchemist. An alchemist who could refine pills with 97% purity. They finally had a chance to observe such an alchemist at work. They would not miss this chance unless they had lost their minds. Elder Duan. At the main hall of Lu Rui's residence, Duan Lingtian was soon surrounded by Lu Rui and 4 other old men. 5 pairs of burning eyes were trained on him. Duan Lingtian nodded at the 4 old men before he began to refine the Grade 1 life recovery pills. Out of consideration for the 5 men, he deliberately slowed down his movement. The 5 men were fascinated by the refining technique as they observed Duan Lingtian. They were ecstatic. Duan Lingtian refined 10 batches of Grade 1 life recovery pills. He used the same refining technique 10 times before he finally stopped. Duan Lingtian put his cauldron away, and 10 pill bottles appeared in his hand. 10 Grade 1 life recovery pills were stored in each bottle. Duan Lingtian left the 10 pill bottles at the side and silently left when he saw Lu Rui and the others were mulling over his refining technique. After leaving the main hall, Duan Lingtian realized that it was already late at night. Wait till Tianwu breaks through to the martial monarch stage, I'll bring her back to the northern desert, Skywolf Fort, it's time for us to settle the debts between us. Duan Lingtian muttered as he left Lu Rui's residence. His voice was low, but it was extremely cold. The scene where the Skywolf Fort's 4 great vice fort master led 10 Skywolf Fort's elders to hunt him back then was still fresh in his mind. If it wasn't for the Devil Seal tablet that devilified me and granted me the strength to kill those Skywolf Fort's elders, I would have been reduced to dust on Cloud Continent. There was a cold glint in Duan Lingtian's eyes. Even after Duan Lingtian had left, Lu Rui and the 4 Lu clan's Grade 2 alchemists still did not regain their senses. They stood there the entire night. They only snapped back to reality on the second morning. The first one to recover was Lu Rui. Elder Duan's like a god. Lu Rui sighed when he thought of the refining technique that had been deeply carved in his brain. It was only one night, but he felt as though he could almost see the threshold to becoming a Grade 1 alchemist. He just needed one more step before he became a Grade 1 alchemist. Soon after, Lu Rui saw 10 pill bottles neat placed on the table at the side, and his eyes instantly brightened. He put the pills bottles away one by one. The 4 Grade 2 alchemists recovered one after another and asked eagerly, Clan leader, the Grade 1 life recovery pills Elder Duan refined, do they have 97% purity? Lu Rui opened a pill bottle to have a look. His eyes widened. Lu Rui's eyes swept across all 4 Grade 2 alchemists. These Grade 1 life recovery pills, his voice trailed off. Seeing the eagerness on the faces of the 4 Grade 2 alchemists, he gulped before he said, they're all Grade 1 life recovery pills with 99% purity. 99% purity. The 4 Grade 2 alchemists were stunned when they heard Lu Rui's words. Ancient Desert City, in the northern desert. At this moment, 4 uninvited guests appeared in the ancient desert city. The person leading the group was an old man with white hair. He left no traces behind as he flew across the sky. It was as though he had completely merged with heaven and earth. Upon closer inspection, one would notice a middle-aged man flying next to him. 3 middle-aged men trailed after them like shadows. These 3 middle-aged men wore a green uniform with the word, Sun, embroidered on their chests. Above the word Sun, there were 2 other words embroidered in smaller letters. Northern Divergent. In just a blink of an eye, the 4 of them entered the Skywolf Fort. Who's that? The people from Skywolf Fort were on their guards as though they were facing formidable enemies. Northern Divergence Sun Clan, Sun Zhong. The majestic voice of the white-haired old man in the lead spread out to every corner of Skywolf Fort. Northern Divergence Sun Clan. Many of the Skywolf Fort's disciples were puzzled. In the Skywolf Fort's inner fort, 6 people rose up in the air. All of them looked dignified. It was obvious they knew the Northern Divergence Sun Clan. They were led by a green-clad old man. Behind the green-clad old man were 4 old men and 1 middle-aged man. Northern Divergence Sun Clan is a second-rate force at the Northern Divergent. What are they doing here at the Skywolf Fort? The green-clad old man was the fort master of Skywolf Fort, Qing Lang. He was puzzled. Master. At this moment, the middle-aged man standing at the back, who was the vice fort master of Skywolf Fort, Master Feng Wei, looked at the old man next to him. The old man was also a vice fort master, and his name was Luo Fu. The Northern Divergence Sun Clan, isn't it, Brother Jin? Yes, it seems like he used the promise he father gave him. Luo Fu nodded and sighed after he interrupted Feng Wei. Luo Fu had a sister. Back then, his sister tried to raise her status by seducing the Northern Divergence Sun Clan's young master. However, she was not even given the title of a mistress. Although she managed to enter the Sun Clan because she was pregnant with a child, she had to stay in the servants' quarter. Moreover, her son was not even qualified to take the surname Sun. The young master back then was the current clan leader of Sun Clan. He had many outstanding sons and daughters, so he did not care about the life and death of an illegitimate son. However, he still promised to fulfill one of the illegitimate son's wishes as long as the wish is not outrageous. This was because the illegitimate son still had his blood running through his veins no matter what. That illegitimate son was Luo Fu's sister's son, who was also Luo Fu's nephew. Luo Jin. Luo Jin was sent to the Skywolf Fort by his mother a long time ago. He was not very talented in the martial Dao, but he was a rampant bully just because his uncle was a vice fort master. In the end, he met with a misfortune and got his Dantian destroyed. Master, you mean Brother Jin brought those people from the Northern Divergence Sun Clan? Feng Wei gasped. That should be it. Luo Fu nodded. Luo Fu confirmed his suspicion when he saw a figure among the group of people. The people from the Northern Divergence Sun Clan were brought by his nephew. Skywolf Fort, Qing Lang. Qing Lang looked at the old man leading the group and bowed slightly. I greet you on behalf of the Vice Fort Masters and the Skywolf Fort, senior son. Meanwhile, the 5 persons behind Luo Fu followed suit and bowed. Nice to meet you, senior son. Sun Zhong, one of the 2 martial monarch powerhouses in the Northern Divergence Sun Clan. They had all heard about him. A martial monarch powerhouse was not someone a third-rate force like the Skywolf Fort could afford to offend. Luo Jin, go and ask. Sun Zhong coldly glanced at the middle-aged man he was pulling forward. Luo Jin. Previously, Luo Fu and Feng Wei had communicated through voice transmission. Therefore, Qing Lang was unaware of the matter. Qing Lang only noticed the middle-aged man Sun Zhong brought was Luo Fu's nephew, Luo Jin, when he heard Sun Zhong's words. Fort Master, Luo Jin looked at Qing Lang. However, he was interrupted by Luo Fu the instant he opened his mouth. Luo Fu said in a deep voice, Jin'er, have you thought this through? You really want to use the promise like this? You should know that even though your cultivation is destroyed, you can still use the promise to ask your father to guarantee you a carefree and lavish life, Luo Fu advised him. Uncle, you don't have to advise me. Luo Jin shook his head as his face unconsciously turned ferocious. That Duan Ling Tian must die. If he's not dead, I won't be happy even if I live a lavish life. Chapter 11:17. Lu Fuo sighed when he saw how determined Luo Jin was. He knew he would not be able to persuade his nephew, so he would have to think of another way instead. Duan Ling Tian. Upon hearing Luo Jin's words, Qing Lang frowned and asked, what's really going on? Duan Ling Tian. He was not unfamiliar with this name. Apart from taking the first place in the martial competition of the 10 dynasties organized by their Skywolf Fort, he was also close to the young miss with the mysterious background. At that time, the young miss was looking for this person. The young miss even called this man, Brother Ling Tian. It made him realize this man was not someone he could afford to offend. However, right now, Luo Fu's nephew actually brought people from the Northern Divergence Sun Clan to look for trouble with Duan Ling Tian. He crippled my Dantian, Luo Jin spat out. Fort Master, I only know he's the champion of the martial competition of the 10 dynasties that was organized by the Skywolf Fort. I don't know his origin at all. Please tell me about his origin, Fort Master, Luo Jin said. Duan Lingtian's origin, Qing Lang frowned. He really did not know. Even if he knew, he would not dare to disclose it. If that young miss found out he had betrayed her brother Lingtian, would she not skin him alive the next time she came here? Senior son. At this moment, Luo Fu looked at Sun Zhang and solemnly asked, "You must have heard of the North Nether sect in our northern desert, right?" Of course, I have. Although Sun Zhang did not know why Luo Fu would ask him this question, he still nodded his head. The North Nether sect is a second-rate force that's more or less on par with our Sun clan. I've even met Feng Tong, the martial monarch of North Nether sect, once. Senior son, if I tell you that Senior Feng Tong from the North Nether sect might have been killed by the powerhouse hiding behind Duan Lingtian, do you still dare to kill him? Luo Fu continued to ask. What? The moment Luo Fu's words left his mouth, horror dawned on Sun Zhang's face at once. Are you serious? I'm willing to swear using the 9 heavenly tribulation, Luo Fu said seriously. At this moment, his heart was filled with a sense of helplessness. If it was not for the fact that he was worried his nephew would become too obsessed with this matter, he would not have warned this Sun clan's martial monarch that had no relationship with him at all. He loathed the Sun clan because of his sister. Naturally, he could only hate them inwardly. He did not dare to reveal his hatred since he was no match for the Sun clan. He was not aware of his nephew's intention to seek revenge from Duan Lingtian. Otherwise, he would have told his nephew all this to discourage him from seeking revenge. Humph. The moment Sun Zhang heard this, he snorted and glared at Luo Jin. Luo Jin, are you trying to get me killed? When Luo Jin heard Luo Fu's words, colors immediately drained from his face. Now that he heard Sun Zhang rebuking him, he was so scared that his body and legs began to tremble. You're right. Indeed, he wants to get you killed. A vaguely distinct and nonchalant voice reverberated in the air. Everyone immediately turned to look at the source of the voice. They saw two figures, one red and one purple, standing in the distance since who knew when. The young man stood there with his purple robe fluttering in the wind. The woman with a face that could topple the nation stood beside the purple-clad young man as her fiery red dress fluttered like dancing flames. Purple flame soared followed by a red flame. This pair of man and woman standing there seemed like a pair of golden boy and jade girl that was made in heaven. This was the first thought that rose in their hearts when they saw the pair. Whoosh, whoosh. In the next instance, the purple-clad young man and the red-clad woman walked side by side in the sky. Soon after, they arrived close to the place where the Skywolf Fort and Northern Divergence Sun Clan's people stood. It was a tripartite confrontation. Duan Lingtian, the 5 Vice Fort Master recognized the purple-clad young man, and their faces immediately paled. They did not expect him to appear the moment his name was mentioned. Moreover, it was obvious he did not come to the Skywolf Fort with good intention. The 4 Vice Fort Masters of Skywolf Fort who had once hunted Duan Lingtian, Feng Wei, Ning Kan, Meng Li, and Yu Kong, turned pale and hints of anxiety could be seen in their eyes. They had only found out from Luo Fu that there was someone behind Duan Lingtian who was capable of killing a martial monarch. The 4 of them could not help but glance at their surroundings as though they were trying to locate the powerhouse hiding behind Duan Lingtian's back. Unfortunately, they could not see anyone at all. Qing Lang and Sun Zhang looked at Duan Lingtian and asked almost simultaneously, "You're Duan Lingtian?" The Northern Divergence Sun Clan. Duan Lingtian ignored Qing Lang but glanced at Sun Zhang indifferently. I see you have quite a good cultivation base. Second level martial monarch stage, a lot more powerful than that Feng Tong from the North Nether sect. Second level martial monarch stage. The moment the words left Duan Lingtian's mouth, Qing Lang and the 5 Vice Fort Masters from Skywolf Fort were stunned. Although they had heard Sun Zhang was a martial monarch and number 1 in the Northern Divergence Sun Clan, they assumed he was only a first-level martial monarch stage powerhouse. It did not cross their minds that Sun Zhang was actually at the second-level martial monarch stage. The second level and the first-level martial monarch stage could not be compared even though it was just a level apart. You have really good judgment, sir. Sun Zhang was filled with dread when he saw Duan Lingtian. The fact that Duan Lingtian saw through his cultivation base in just a glance showed how profound he was. Everything else aside, his instinct alone told him this man was not ordinary. The reason you traveled so far from the Northern Divergent land is to kill me. Duan Lingtian asked as he stared at Sun Zhong. I dare not. Sun Zhong hastily shook his head. What a joke. Since he already knew Feng Tong the martial monarch from North Nether sect had died in this person's hands, he did not dare to admit it. Moreover, he had just witnessed how mysterious this person was. Since you dare not, can you hand him over then? Duan Lingtian asked nonchalantly. His gaze shifted from Sun Zhong to Luo Jin whom he was holding. Upon seeing Duan Lingtian, Luo Jin's face turned vicious again. When he saw Duan Lingtian looking at him, he shouted at Sun Zhong, Elder Zhong. Don't forget that my father asked you to kill him on my behalf. Kill him now, quick, kill him. However, Sun Zhong did not seem to care about Luo Jin at all. Instead, he looked at Duan Lingtian and said, Sir, he's still the son of our Sun Clan's clan leader no matter what. You can take him with you, but can you at least show some sincerity, sir? Sincerity. Duan Lingtian was momentarily stunned. Soon after, he smiled. In the next moment, he turned his head slightly to look at the 4 vice fort masters of Skywolf Fort, excluding Luo Fu, standing behind Qing Lang. 4 vice fort masters, you almost took my life away, didn't you? Ning Can and the other 3 turned pale when they saw Duan Lingtian staring at them. Qing Lang frowned the moment he heard Duan Lingtian's words. He was about to ask if there was some sort of misunderstanding since he was unaware of the incident where his 4 vice fort masters hunted Duan Lingtian. Duan. However, he was interrupted before he could continue to ask. Whoosh! The sound of sword whistling in the air interrupted him. He was shocked to discover the 4 vice fort masters Duan Lingtian was staring at had a bloody hole on their throats. Dazzling red and fresh blood gushed out of the bloody wounds. A few moments later, the 4 bodies fell to the ground. The 4 great vice fort masters of Skywolf Fort had all died in just a blink of an eye. From the very beginning to the end, all Qing Lang heard was the sound of sword whistling that disappeared as soon as it appeared. He did not see any evidence of Duan Lingtian making a move at all. Everyone was still shocked when Duan Lingtian looked at Sun Zhong and sneered. He calmly asked, is this sincere enough? In Sun Zhong's eyes, the smile on Duan Lingtian's mouth was no different from a devil's smile. At this moment, all Sun Zhong felt was a sense of coldness that crept up from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. It's enough, it's enough. Sun Zhong hurriedly nodded. He lifted his hand and threw Luo Jin to Duan Lingtian. Sir Duan, I'm sorry for offending you. I hope you'll forgive me. Sun Zhong's forehead was clammy from cold sweat. It was his first time encountering such a terrifying powerhouse. Who the hell said Duan Lingtian had a powerhouse hidden behind him who killed Feng Tong? It was all false. Duan Lingtian himself was already a terrifying powerhouse. Among all the people present, he was the only who saw Duan Lingtian lifting his hand. However, he did not see the part where Duan Lingtian's sword ray shot out and pierced the throats of the 4 great vice fort masters. At that moment, he knew it would be easy for Duan Lingtian to kill him. Good. Duan Lingtian caught Luo Jin easily. Luo Jin did not even have time to catch his breath before he was thrown into the big combat ring situated in the Skywolf Fort's outer fort. Whoosh! Luo Jin, whose dantian had long been crippled, and thus lost his origin energy, dropped down at increasing speed. Uncle, save me! Uncle, save me, please! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! Luo Jin, who was terrified by the way Duan Lingtian dealt with things, finally regained his senses when he was thrown by Duan Lingtian. Horror dawned on his face as he screamed for help from Luo Fu at the top of his lungs. Luo Fu took a deep breath as he painfully closed his eyes. A hint of bitterness could be faintly seen on the corner of his mouth. Although he wanted to save Luo Jin, he could not do anything at all. With the strength that Duan Lingtian currently possessed, it would be as easy as killing a chicken or cutting grass for Duan Lingtian to kill him. If he saved Luo Jin, not only would he fail, he would be forfeiting his life as well. Due to this reason, he could only watch idly. His own life was the most important after all. Bam! Luo Jin was still screaming up to the moment he fell on the combat ring. His body slammed viciously on the ground, turning into a pulpy and bloody mess. Silence immediately descended on the scene. Luo Fu, what's going on really? Qing Lang's voice finally broke the silence. Qing Lang looked at Luo Fu fiercely. Didn't I warn all of you previously to not mess with Duan Lingtian no matter what? Chapter 11-18. Duan Lingtian glanced at Qing Lang indifferently when he heard him admonishing Luo Fu. In his opinion, Qing Lang was only saying this to save his own life. Fort Master, Luo Fu smiled wryly. Long before you warned us, those 4 people had already offended Duan Lingtian. After the martial competition of the 10 dynasties ended, 4 of them brought 10 elders with them to chase Duan Lingtian so they could kill him. What? Horror dawned on Qing Lang's face. He narrowed his eyes immediately. You already knew about this? Luo Fu nodded as he smiled wryly. Great. That's just great. Qing Lang glared at Luo Fu and asked in a deep voice, then, when Miss Shuinai came to the Skywolf Fort and mentioned Duan Lingtian, why didn't you tell me about this? Did you think this was a small matter? When Qing Lang reached the end of his sentence, killing intent rose from his body. Miss Shuinai. The moment Duan Lingtian heard Qing Lang's words, he raised his eyebrows in shock. The Fort Master of Skywolf Fort knew Shuinai. Fort Master, we heard how Miss Shuinai addressed Duan Lingtian as Brother Lingtian, moreover, you're so respectful toward her. We didn't dare to tell you because we were scared you'd rebuke us. The smile on Luo Fu became even wryer. Boom. The moment these words left Luo Fu's mouth, a vast origin energy and 9th level void transformation concept that trailed behind like a shadow instantly enveloped Luo Fu. In just an instant, Luo Fu had turned to dust and vanished from this world. After killing Luo Fu, Qing Lang bowed at Duan Lingtian and announced loudly, I'm not strict enough with my subordinates. Even death is not enough to atone for their recklessness. Please punish me, Sir Duan. Duan Lingtian looked at Qing Lang and said nonchalantly, if you really feel guilty, why don't you kill yourself now? Qing Lang did not expect such an answer from Duan Lingtian. His body trembled as horror dawned on his face. Humph, save your acting in front of me. Duan Lingtian snorted. You already know I won't kill you, and yet, you're still putting on a show. Don't you think it's disgusting? Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Qing Lang heaved a sigh of relief and immediately flattered Duan Lingtian, Sir Duan is really wise. However, Duan Lingtian did not like this sort of stuff. Duan Lingtian ignored his flattery and changed the topic. You know Shuinai? Yes. Qing Lang nodded respectfully. He knew that his savior today was that young miss. Do you know about Shuinai's background? Duan Lingtian asked again. No, I don't. Qing Lang smiled wryly. I only know that young Miss Shuinai's identity is not that simple. The one by her side is a powerful person from my clan. If we take seniority into consideration, then you can say she's my ancestor. Duan Lingtian raised a brow as he asked, Qing Nu. Yes, that's how Miss Shuinai addresses her, Qing Lang responded respectfully. When have you seen Shuinai before? Duan Lingtian asked again. Duan Lingtian learned a few things from Qing Lang. Originally, when he was still in the 5-element sect, Shuinai had come to the Skywolf Fort and asked for his whereabouts. After that, Shuinai wanted Qing Lang to bring her along to search for him, but the search was not fruitful. In the end, Qing Nu appeared and brought Shuinai away. You mean, there's another young lady beside Shuinai? Duan Lingtian asked curiously. Yes, Qing Lang nodded. That's enough, leave. Since I've already killed the initiators of this evil, and for the sake of your close relationship with Shuinai, I'll not make things difficult for you in Skywolf Fort anymore, Duan Lingtian said and waved his hand dismissively. Yes, Qing Lang replied and immediately left. He did not dare to delay since he was afraid Duan Lingtian would change his mind and kill him. After Qing Lang left, Duan Lingtian looked at Sun Zhong, the martial emperor of the Northern Divergent Sun clan. Sir Duan. Sun Zhong bowed respectfully. The 3 people behind him bowed as well. There was a hint of dread in the depth of their eyes. If they had known their target was this terrifying, they would not have come even if it meant disobeying the clan leader's order. It was fortunate this powerhouse did not seem to have any intention of finding trouble with them. What, you still insist on staying here? Are you not planning to scram back to your Northern Divergent Sun clan? Are you waiting for me to treat you to lunch? Duan Lingtian asked calmly. No, no. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Sun Zhong was struck by anxiety. Sir Duan, we're returning to the Northern Divergent land now. We're making our move now. Sir Duan, we'll surely welcome you with open arms if you have the time to visit. The moment Sun Zhong finished his words, he hastily brought the 3 people with him and left as fast as lightning. They disappeared into the horizon in just a blink of an eye. Finally, there were only Duan Lingtian and the red-clad woman left in the sky. That red-clad woman was none other than Feng Tianwu. From the beginning until the end, Feng Tianwu just stood quietly next to Duan Lingtian. The coldness on her extremely beautiful and delicate face began to dissipate after everyone had left. Oh, I almost forgot something. A light bulb went on in Duan Lingtian's mind. In the next instance, he disappeared from the spot, leaving only Feng Tianwu standing at the same spot quietly waiting for him. Inside Skywolf Fort, fear still lingered around Qing Lang after he had descended. As expected from the person that young miss calls brother. He has become so powerful in such a short time. He even managed to scare Sun Zhang, who is at the second-level martial monarch stage. This means his cultivation base must be at the fourth-level martial monarch stage at least. Qing Lang speculated. Who's that? Suddenly, Qing Lang came to halt as though he had noticed something. Horror dawned on his face immediately. A purple figure had suddenly appeared in front of him. Sir Duan. When Qing Lang took a good look at the intruder, he heaved a sigh of relief. He asked respectfully, "Is there anything else you need, sir?" Where the location of Blade Sect? The person in front of Qing Lang was none other than Duan Lingtian. The main reason he went after Qing Lang was to find out where Blade Sect was located. His next stop was the Blade Sect. The Blade Sect, Qing Lang did not dare to delay and quickly disclosed the direction of Blade Sect to Duan Lingtian. After Duan Lingtian found out about the Blade Sect's location, he left in a rush. In Qing Lang's eyes, it was as though he had disappeared into thin air. Let's go, Tian Wu. Duan Lingtian, who had just returned to Feng Tianwu's side, motioned to her. They immediately made their way to the Blade Sect. Although there was quite a distance between the Skywolf Fort and the Blade Sect, with Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu's cultivation base at the martial monarch stage, they quickly arrived at the Blade Sect's estate. Uncle Feng, hovering on the air above the Blade Sect's estate, Duan Lingtian's voice that contained origin energy spread to the entire Blade Sect's estate. The entire Blade Sect's estate burst into an uproar. Who's that? How dare you cause a ruckus in our Blade Sect? Humph, who is this blind person who dares to make trouble in our Blade Sect? Let me teach him a lesson. Let's go, let's teach him a lesson on why the rose is red. All of the Blade Sect's disciples rose up in the air and headed toward the source of the voice in a menacing manner. They saw the two people standing in the air above the Blade Sect's estate. However, they were stunned when their eyes shifted to the red-clad woman. It's Junior Sister Feng. It's really Junior Sister Feng. Junior Sister Feng's back, Many of the Balda Sect's disciples recognized Feng Tianwu. Feng Tianwu used to be a Blade Sect's disciple after all. Feng Tianwu's delicate face that could topple the nation immediately turned cold when she saw so many people looking at her. Her body exuded a blood-curdling aura that stunned the disciples. What's wrong with Junior Sister Feng? Why does it feel like Junior Sister Feng has become strange? It must be the fault of that pretty boy next to her. Many of the Blade Sect's disciples began to glare at Duan Lingtian. Junior Sister Feng was the girl of their dream. Now that she was reduced to such a state, how could they not be mad? You lad, give me back my Junior Sister Feng. A Blade Sect's disciple flew out, wanting to attack Duan Lingtian. With this guy at the lead, many people followed suit and charged toward Duan Lingtian as well. However, before these people got remotely close to Duan Lingtian, they had already been enveloped and suppressed by a vast rolling flame. They would most likely end up dead if the flame continued to envelop them. At this time, Duan Lingtian said, "Tian Wu, have mercy." The person suppressing this group of Blade Sect's disciples trying to attack Duan Lingtian was none other than Feng Tianwu. Feng Tianwu, who had lost her memory, only accepted Duan Lingtian alone. Duan Lingtian was her everything and even more precious than her own life. Nobody could even think about hurting him at all. Whoosh! The moment Feng Tianwu heard Duan Lingtian's voice, she withdrew her vast rolling fire profundity. After she withdrew her fire profundity, the Blade Sect's disciple tried to catch their breath, some of them were even covered in soot. Since when did Junior Sister Tianwu become so strong? Soon after, they made a shocking discovery. These group of Blade Sect's disciples was all in their middle age. Although they knew their Junior Sister Tianwu was innately talented previously, her strength was still not comparable to theirs. However, today, they were easily suppressed by their Junior Sister Tianwu. When the group of Blade Sect's disciples was at a loss about the situation, many more figures appeared. They were the Blade Sect's senior officials. The sect leaders of Saber Sect and Sword Sect were here as well. Saber 5 and Sword 13 trailed after them like shadows. A silhouette that Duan Lingtian was extremely familiar with was with them as well. Duan Lingtian immediately looked at the person standing behind the group of Blade Sect's senior officials. He smiled and greeted, "Uncle Feng." Lingtian. The person whom Duan Lingtian took the initiative to greet was Feng Wudao, Feng Tianwu's father. At this moment, the people who used to be close with Duan Lingtian like Saber 5 and Sword 13 could sense that Duan Lingtian was ignoring them. It was as though he did not see them at all. Even the sect leaders of the Saber and Sword sect felt a little embarrassed when they looked at Feng Tianwu. In the past, when the three great second-rate Foss's martial monarchs paid a visit to them and asked about Duan Lingtian's background, they had betrayed Duan Lingtian in order to save their own asses. Chapter 11-19. Ever since Feng Tianwu left the martial emperor's secret treasure, she had not left Duan Lingtian's side. All of them knew this very well. Therefore, betraying Duan Lingtian meant that they had also betrayed Feng Tianwu. Due to this, they felt a little guilty and ashamed when they look at Feng Tianwu. Wooer. Soon after, Feng Wudao noticed Feng Tianwu. He smiled and flew to her in an instant. However, in the next moment, the smile on his face faltered when he realized Feng Tianwu's gaze was a little different. It looked cold and confused as though she was looking at a stranger. When Feng Wudao realized something was wrong, he immediately turned to Duan Lingtian and asked, Laddie Lingtian, what's going on? Uncle Feng, Tianwu temporarily lost her memory. However, please don't worry. Just give me a little time, I'll be able to restore her memory, Duan Lingtian replied truthfully and reassured him. What? Lost her memory? How did this happen? Horror dawned on Feng Wudao's face. Feng Tianwu looked at Feng Wudao and asked in a hesitant softened voice, why you're my dad? Her tone was cautious. Yes, it's me, I'm your father, Feng Wudao immediately replied. He turned to look at Duan Lingtian unhappily, Laddie Lingtian, what's going on? How did Wooer lose her memory suddenly without any reason? Uncle Feng, it's a long story. Although it was a long story, Duan Lingtian told him everything without any reservation. It's my fault for not protecting Tianwu properly. After Duan Lingtian finished retelling the story, he sighed with a guilty expression on his face. Then, does this mean the fire spirit body's energy inside Wooer is now gone? It's no longer a threat to her. This was the matter Feng Wudao was most concerned about. The fire spirit body in his daughters had always been the source of his worries and headaches. Now that he found out his daughter no longer had a fire spirit body, he heaved a sigh of relief like he had been relieved of a burden he had been shouldering for many years. Yes, Duan Lingtian nodded. In a way, this is a blessing in disguise. I don't blame you for this matter. A rare smile appeared on Feng Wudao's face. As for Wooer's memory, I'm sure you'll be able to help her regain her memory eventually. Don't worry, Uncle Feng. I'll definitely help Tianwu regain her memory, Duan Lingtian replied earnestly. However, how did those martial emperors from the three great second-rate forces find out both of you were in the Darkened Dynasty? How did they know both of you were in the Crimson Sky Kingdom? Feng Wudao was puzzled. Well, we must thank a few people in the Blade Sect for this. Duan Lingtian looked at the group of Blade Sect's senior officials, including Saber 5, Sword 13, and the sect leaders of the Saber and Sword sect, and sneered. Previously, when they heard Duan Lingtian managed to escape from the evil clutches of the three martial monarchs, the Blade Sect's senior officials were filled with disbelief. In their opinion, this was impossible. When they had disclosed Duan Lingtian's background to the martial monarchs from the three great second-rate forces, they were certain Duan Lingtian would die. Thus, they were shocked when they saw Duan Lingtian again. Initially, they assumed Duan Lingtian was not caught by the martial monarchs from the three great second-rate forces because he was simply not in the Darkened Dynasty. That was probably how he escaped his doom. After hearing the exchange between Duan Lingtian and Feng Wudao, they realized Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu had encountered the martial monarchs and escaped from them. However, they had no idea how Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu managed to do that. Duan Lingtian had breezed through the most important part and only said that he and Feng Tianwu had dodged the crisis, but they had to pay quite a hefty price for that. Feng Tianwu had lost her memory because of that. Duan Lingtian, it's indeed our Blade Sect's fault regarding this matter, we won't deny this. The sect leader of Saber Sect sighed and said regretfully, however, if we didn't do as we were told at that time, the Blade Sect would have been annihilated. We had no choice at all. That's right, we had no choice at all. At once, many of the Blade Sect's senior officials chimed in as well. No choice at all. The smirk on Duan Lingtian's mouth widened as his eyes swept across the sect leaders of the Saber Sect and Sword Sect, Saber 5, and Sword 13. Isn't it because all of you fear death? The moment Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, the sect leaders of Saber Sect and Sword Sect turned pale immediately. Saber 5 and Sword 13, on the other hand, had a guilty expression on their faces as they smiled wryly. Duan Lingtian, just because you're lucky and managed to escape from the powerhouses of the 3 second-rate forces, don't think you're really powerful. This is the Blade Sect, it's not a place where you can simply cause a ruckus. The sect leader of Sword Sect shouted out of embarrassment. It's not a place where I can simply cause a ruckus. Really? Duan Lingtian snorted. You're looking for death. The sect leader of Sword Sect originally had a bad temper. Now that Duan Lingtian had enraged him, he could no longer hold back and released his origin energy. The 9th level advanced sword concept and the other 9th level advanced concepts followed closely like shadows. Whoosh! The sect leader of Sword Sect seemed to have transformed into a gigantic sword that was about to fall on Duan Lingtian and cut him in half. Please have mercy, sect leader. Horror dawned on Sword 13. Although he wanted to rescue Duan Lingtian, it was too late. Idiot! Duan Lingtian spat out this one word unhurriedly. He casually lifted one of his hand and punched out to intercept the attack. Boom! In just an instant, a 5-colored energy soared up from Duan Lingtian's punch. It was his fused profundity. Fused profundity burst out like a gigantic beast with an open and bloody mouth and collided head-on with the gigantic sword the sect leader of Sword Sect had transformed into. It swallowed the gigantic sword in just a mouth. In just a second, the rolling fused profundity shrouded the gigantic sword the sect leader of Sword Sect had transformed into without leaving any trace behind. Whoosh! Without warning, the menacing fused profundity quivered before it vanished before everyone's eyes. Duan Lingtian withdrew it smoothly. Silence. The entire place fell silent. The only sound they could hear was the heaving breathing from the Blade Sect's senior officials. The sect leader of Sword Sect from their Blade Sect had just been killed in just one blow. If it was not for the fact that they witnessed this with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. Soon after, the sect leader of Saber Sect regained his senses and pointed a trembling finger at Duan Lingtian. He asked with a horrified expression, "Why you have broken through to the martial monarch stage? Do you want to give it a go as well?" Duan Lingtian, who had just killed the sect leader of Sword Sect with just one punch, licked his dry lips as he looked at the sect leader of Saber Sect with interest. The moment the latter heard this, he immediately shut his mouth and no longer dared to utter another word. At this moment, everyone, be it Feng Wudao, Sword 13 or Saber 5, was staring at Duan Lingtian in disbelief. They did not expect Duan Lingtian's strength would be so terrifying now. He killed the sect leader of Sword Sect, a person who was at the peak of the void, with just one punch. Since the Blade Sect is neither virtuous or righteous, there's no reason for me to remain here any longer. Feng Wudao looked slightly enraged as he announced coldly that he was leaving the Blade Sect. I used to be a Blade Sect's disciple. Feng Tianwu muttered and quickly followed suit to announce, in that case, from now onward, I no longer have anything to do with the Blade Sect. Feng Wudao and his daughter both announced their departure from the Blade Sect. Duan Lingtian looked at Sword 13 as he said, Senior, I still remember that I owe you a debt of gratitude. Today, I won't cause any trouble for the Blade Sect for your sake. However, the debt of gratitude and revenge offset each other. There's no longer any debt between us. His voice was calm and cold. Honestly, he was very disappointed when he found out it was Blade Sect that disclosed his background to the 3 great second-rate forces. Naturally, the person he was most disappointed in was Sword 13. Other than Feng Wudao, who joined the Blade Sect later on, he only acknowledged Sword 13 alone among all the Blade Sect's senior officials. This was because Sword 13 had saved his life twice before. A good deed had to be repaid by manifold, let alone a debt of life. However, he only wanted to sever his relationship with Sword 13 now. Sigh, Sword 13 opened his mouth, seemingly about to say something. Alas, no words left his mouth at all. All that could be heard was just a sigh. Duan Lingtian, you've misunderstood my master. At this moment, a voice reverberated in the air followed by the appearance of a figure. It was a young man whom Duan Lingtian was familiar with, it was Su Li. Misunderstood? Duan Lingtian frowned. A hint of bafflement could be seen in his eyes. Su Li nodded before he quickly explained, actually, from the very beginning until the end, Master did not agree with disclosing your background because he didn't want any harm to befall you. However, the sect leader of Sword Sect who had long known about your background ignored Master's advice and told them everything. Master had no say at all from the beginning until the end. He did not betray you. Su Li said in one breath. I'm sorry, Senior. The moment Su Li finished his words, Duan Lingtian fell silent for a moment before he looked at Sword 13 apologetically. I'll repay you for the things that you've done for me, Senior. On the premise that you no longer stay in this cold-blooded blade sect. Moreover, I'm certain the sect leader of Sword Sect was not the only one who had a say at that time. When Duan Lingtian reached the end of his sentence, he began to study the sect leader of Saber Sect who looked a little guilty and the group of Blade Sect's senior officials, including Saber 5. Although the Blade Sect's senior officials were unhappy with Duan Lingtian's scrutiny, none of them dared to express their displeasure at all. What a joke! Did they not witness the scene of Duan Lingtian killing the sect leader of Sword Sect who was at the peak of the void in just one punch? Even if they collectively attacked him, they would only be given a one-way ticket to hell. Su Li, this Blade Sect is so ruthless that they might even betray you and your relatives in the future. Why don't you follow me? Duan Lingtian looked at Su Li. Believe me, if you follow me, you'll have a brighter future waiting for you. Duan Lingtian. Su Li shook his head. If Master had also betrayed you, I would follow you. However, Master didn't betray you. He did not let me down at all. Even if there's nothing else, just the gratitude for Master's teachings all these years, I'll choose to remain here. Su Li smiled when he reached the end of his sentence. There were no regrets contained in his smile at all. Chapter 11:20. Duan Lingtian nodded at Su Li before he looked at Sword 13 again and calmly said, I respect your decision. Senior, if you decide to leave the Blade Sect one day with Su Li, I have something good to give you, something beyond your imagination. Uncle Feng, Tian Wu, let's go. Duan Lingtian motioned to Feng Wudao and Feng Tian Wu before leaving the sky above the Blade Sect's estate. After Duan Lingtian and the other two left, the atmosphere in the sky above the Blade Sect's estate was tensed for a very long time. Sect leader, I've given it some thought, and I've decided to leave the sect. Sword 13 looked at the sect leader of Saber Sect and bowed as he announced, from now on, the person with the name Sword 13 no longer exists. Su Li, let's go. The moment Sword 13 finished his sentence, he flew away. Su Li followed closely behind. From the very beginning until the end, he did not utter a single word at all as he followed at the heels of his master. Su Li and his master left the Blade Sect, but they did not chase after Duan Lingtian. Instead, they were headed in the opposite direction. Duan Lingtian and the other two were headed south, but they were headed north instead. Su Li's master chose to leave not because of the thing Duan Lingtian promised, it was due to his heart. After the three figures left the Blade Sect, they continued to head south. Soon after, they entered the area of the 10 Great Dynasties and entered Darming Dynasty. Wuer's cultivation base has also made a breakthrough to the martial monarch stage. The red-clad middle-aged man looked at the red-clad woman next to him in shock. His eyes were filled with disbelief. In his opinions, this was just too absurd. His daughter was so young, and she was already a martial monarch. Although his innate talent and comprehension were quite good, he only managed to break through to the 8th level void transformation and comprehended a 9th level advanced sword concept. Uncle Feng, although I still have a sword profundity fragment in my hand, it's something that I've already comprehended. I'll bring you to a place, and I guarantee you'll be able to directly comprehend the sword profundity. Duan Lingtian told Feng Wudao. The 3rd level monarch stage sword profundity fragment that he obtained from the sword monarch's treasure had helped him to comprehend the sword profundity, it would be useless to other people. Just like a glass of water. Duan Lingtian had already drunk half of it, so there was only half a glass left. One would need a full glass of water to get rid of the thirst. Even if one obtained Duan Lingtian's half glass of water, it still would not be enough to quench one's thirst. Oh, the moment Feng Wudao heard Duan Lingtian mentioning an amazing place, his interest was instantly piqued. The place Duan Lingtian mentioned was no doubt the word, sword, carved inside the canyon deep inside the mountain range near Shangquan's village. A guy named Feng Qingyan who called himself the Sword Saint left behind a sword Dao. It was quite a coincidence that Feng Wudao also comprehended the sword concept and had already raised his sword concept to the 9th level advanced stage. Seeing the word, sword, for the first time will greatly benefit you for sure. It'll be easy for you to comprehend the sword profundity, Uncle Feng. Duan Lingtian was certain of this. Shang Quan had also previously comprehended the advanced sword concept in one fell swoop when he first laid eyes on the word, sword. When Duan Lingtian first laid eyes on the word, sword, his sword concept was raised from the 9th level intermediate stage to the 5th level advanced stage. He made an extremely huge progress. Feng Tianwu was even better. She had gained the ability to create sword from fire. From her fire concept or fire profundity, she created the sword concept and profundity that had the same level as her fire concept or profundity. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian was 100% certain Feng Wudao would not be an exception. Duan Lingtian felt nostalgic visiting this secluded mountain range again. The canyon was still the same as last time. It was very quiet. Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu entered the canyon and did not immediately comprehend the word, sword, unlike Feng Wudao. I've been here before, Feng Tianwu asked Duan Lingtian. Yes, Duan Lingtian nodded before flashing a smile. You gained the ability to breathe the sword profundity from your fire profundity after you looked at the word, sword. Upon hearing this, Feng Tianwu looked at the word, sword, and said in disbelief, I feel like there's a lot of messages contained in this word. But, why did he become like that? Feng Tianwu looked at Feng Wudao who was in a daze before she asked her question. She originally wanted to say, my father, but chickened out at the last minute. Duan Lingtian did not miss the sudden change in Feng Tianwu's words, but he was not particularly concerned. Everything needed time, and Tianwu also needed time to accept her father. This is his first time coming here. Previously, it was the same as well when you and I first came here. Duan Lingtian smiled when he recalled the first time Shang Quan brought him here. He could still remember that Shang Quan took the shortest time followed by Feng Tianwu and then him. He was absorbed in the word, sword, for the longest time. I wonder how long Uncle Feng will stay in that state. Duan Lingtian wondered as he glanced at Feng Wudao. However, he could not come up with an answer at all. I guess, I'll just wait until Uncle Feng snaps out of it. Tianwu, we're almost done comprehending the sword Dao we memorized from this word previously. Since we're leaving the outer land soon, let's memorize as much as we can so we'll be able to slowly comprehend it in the future, Duan Lingtian told Feng Tianwu. She nodded. Under Duan Lingtian guidance, she began to memorize the sword Dao contained in the word, sword. The obscure messages were memorized by her one by one. Time continued to pass by quietly. After 10 days, Duan Lingtian felt he had reached the limit of memorizing the sword Dao contained in the word, sword, so he did bother to continue. To his surprise, Tianwu was still memorizing it. Looks like Tianwu has comprehended quite a lot of the sword Dao contained in the word, sword, she previously memorized when she raised her sword profundity, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. For this reason, Tianwu could memorize more. Duan Lingtian shook his head and proceeded to sit cross-legged to cultivate under the sky. 9 Dragons Sovereign Technique, Divine Dragon Form. While Duan Lingtian was cultivating, he did not forget to stay vigilant. He would extend his spiritual energy once in a while to check his surroundings. Eventually, Feng Tianwu was also done with memorizing the sword Dao contained in the word, sword. When she woke up, she saw Duan Lingtian was cultivating. Instead of disturbing him, she also sat cross-legged under the sky to cultivate. After an unknown amount of time had passed, Duan Lingtian was suddenly awakened by a piercing aura in the air. Uncle Feng, you've comprehended the sword profundity. Duan Lingtian instantly looked over to Feng Wudao the moment he woke up. He could clearly feel the piercing aura Feng Wudao's body emitted earlier was the aura of the sword profundity. I've just woke up as well, it feels like there are some changes. Feng Wudao was still in a daze. Give it a try then. Duan Lingtian smiled. All right, Feng Wudao nodded. With a raise of his hand, his origin energy condensed into a sword that swept out. In an instant, a piercing sword Kai with blood-curdling aura appeared. The place it swept past in the air turned turbulent as the sound of explosions reverberated faintly in the air. When the explosion sounded, airwaves appeared and flurries of hurricane wreaked havoc in the canyon. Nobody knew when but Feng Tianwu who was sitting cross-legged under the sky cultivating had also been awakened by this. She woke up just in time to see Feng Wudao trying out his sword profundity. Whoosh! As Feng Wudao's sword swept out, a heaven and earth phenomenon that corresponded with his cultivation base appeared above his head before the heaven and earth phenomenon that corresponded to his sword profundity also appeared. The silhouettes of 3,000 ancient horned dragons. The sword profundity was equivalent to the strength of 3,000 ancient horned dragons. Second level monarch stage sword profundity. Duan Ling Tian's eyes lit up and he quickly congratulated Feng Wudao. Congratulations, Uncle Feng. Second level monarch stage sword profundity. Up until now, Feng Wudao was still a little dazed. It felt as though he had only taken a look at the word, sword, before he became deeply immersed in it. A long time seemed to have gone past before he finally awakened. As soon as he woke up, his 9th level advanced sword concept had transformed into the 2nd level monarch stage sword profundity, totally bypassing the 1st stage monarch stage sword profundity. He had skipped an entire level. Impossible, impossible. Feng Wudao took a deep breath. Shock was written all over his face. Feng Wudao finally calmed himself down and asked curiously, what exactly is that word, sword? Why is it so amazing? It's left behind by a person who called himself the Sword Saint. Uncle Feng, you can go there and have a look. There's a passage written by the person who inscribed the word, sword. Duan Ling Tian motioned to Feng Wudao to go have a look at Feng Qingyang the Sword Saint's message. After Feng Wudao had taken a look, he was shocked again. He felt as though a door leading to a whole new world was slowly appearing before him. Although he wanted to enter it, he was still lacking. Originally, Duan Ling Tian wanted Feng Wudao to memorize the sword Dao contained in the word, sword, and ask him to follow him and Feng Wutian to the inner land. However, Feng Wudao declined his invitation. With my current strength, I won't be any help to you. I'll be a burden to you instead. Due to this reason, I won't be following both of you there. This place is not bad, I want to stay here and slowly study the word, sword, Feng Wudao replied. At first, Duan Ling Tian kept persuading Feng Wudao. However, Feng Wudao still remained unmoved. Duan Ling Tian had no choice but to respect his decision. In that case, I'll introduce someone to you, Uncle Feng. Duan Ling Tian went to the Shang family village and brought Erhu back so that he could introduce him to Feng Wudao. After everything was in place, Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu left the canyon and the Darkened Dynasty as they continued to head north. It has already been a few months, I think Shang Quan should have already broken through, Duan Ling Tian muttered.